Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
It's fake news, Dan, and you know it, I know it, everyone knows it, including you.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Jesus Christ, Aldo.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
I'm crying. If he don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Shut the fuck up.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
He's a fucking idiot.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
Nope. I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
We don't give a fuck.
So Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
Ay, Dios mío.
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
How you feeling, my friend?
Much better than last week with the exception of the loss. Can I jump in?
Please.
Last week I said, you know what, I don't know how, but I think the Bears are going to win. And as haha, you're wrong as that may seem, they still had the ball down 6 with a chance to win the game. And I think about it, if this were the other way around, how many times have we been told that the Bears' wins weren't good enough? Like last week, wasn't good enough. Had we been the Texans, and they'd have been like, oh, the shitty-ass Bears had the chance to beat you. You should have put them away, because people were presenting the Texans like they were the unbeaten 07 Patriots or the 72 Dolphins or the 85 Bears. It's this insurmountable game. And we held them and their great quarterback to 19 points. The Bears almost won the game. If they'd had any semblance of an offensive line to protect for Caleb, chances are they do win the game. The kid took a beating. I know everyone's going to point out to the mistakes he made in the second half. And that's true. I don't want to make any excuses, but still the Bears had the ball with a chance to win. And everyone's like, oh, I knew they weren't going to do it. Did you know that? I didn't. I thought they had a shot. I thought we were going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans are favored. They're a very good team. They're playing at home, and the Bears are not good on Sunday Night Football. They got a rookie quarterback. Things, are taking a little while to develop. So I could see, where Vegas and the predominantly most, prognosticators had the Texans. It makes sense. But yes, the Bears had a chance to win. You're absolutely right. They proved they can play with that team. The thing is that they need to correct some things. And we're going to talk all about the things that need correcting and how to potentially correct them. We've got members from Bears Country Productions here. They're going to be guests joining us in about 25 minutes. Santucci will join us in an hour. And Dan and I are going to start this first 25 minutes just bitching and moaning and talking about whatever. So I'm with you, man. What do you think is the main problem, Dan, from your perspective? Why is this offense delayed?
Well, I mean, if you listen to anything after the game, I'm not saying anything that other people aren't already saying. Mm-hmm. But I will tug on my own cock here and say that I've been saying this for a decade now. Since Jay was here, like, you've got to invest in the offensive line. Yep. Darnell Wright was the first top 10 pick on the offensive line for the Chicago Bears since 1983. Think about that again. Top 10 offensive lineman. The last time that had been done, 1983, before 2023, almost 40 years. That is an organization who's not investing in the offensive line. Now, granted, you don't want to be in the top 10. You want to be more successful. But a lot of times the Bears have been in there. You know, they drafted like Cedric Benson or Curtis Enis, all these bad picks, Mitchell Trubisky, you know, not taking an offensive lineman. They could have taken one at number 9 this year. I'm not saying that Rome was a bad pick. Just in hindsight, it looks like, man, you really should have invested in it. And like I said last week, when you were like, man, the kid we got from Buffalo, he's got multiple injuries. It's like, oh, we better get ready to depend on Nate Davis. And someone in the chat group said something disparaging about me. Like, I didn't know what I was talking about because I was like, oh, that's got IR written all over it. Of course, he's on injured reserve. So that means you've got 3 more games of Nate Davis. And the center's just awful. I mean, we thought Whitehair was bad last year, or the Lucas Patrick. That center Shelton is getting thrown into 18. He's like like they're about to have sodomy right there on the field. Right. His ass is right in his. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no interior protection at all. Tevin was struggling. The whole damn line was struggling. Mm-hmm. I know Caleb struggled too. I don't want to absolve him of that. The play calling was bad. The running game was bad. The offensive line was bad. I mean, everything was bad. But yet there we were with the ball and a chance to win it. Yeah. And I honestly thought we were going to when we got the ball back. I really did.
Yeah, you know, I had a feeling too, you know, because I still believe 100% in Caleb. I think that, you know, he's making a lot of rookie blunders, but I still believe that he's got a lot of magic that is real and implementable, if that's a word, in the NFL. So I think, you know, we're going to see it soon, and it could be as early as this week in Indianapolis. But the fact of the matter is that I believe the biggest problem is Shane Waldron, because, you know, he came here advertised as putting the best, putting the players in positions where they can be their best and do the play calling around that. And so when you have an offensive line that is underperforming badly, you got to do max protects. You got to do play action out of the center, the quarterback out of the center, get that running game going downhill, those blockers going forward as opposed to backwards where, you know, they trip over each other's legs or just get knocked on their ass for with nobody's help. So this is what's going on with this team. First and foremost, it's Shane Waldron, like Luke Getsy, talking the philosophy of having a winning offense, but not executing it with his play calling and his scheme. He threw, what was it? How many times did they throw this week? Almost 40, right?
And the worst stat, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but when you talk about the passing attempts, I distinctly remember hearing that at 81 of Caleb's pass attempts, he was hit. 81% of his pass attempts, he was hit, whether that meant a sack or knocked down or, you know, somebody touching it. 81%. Mm-hmm. Crazy. He was sacked 7 times.
Right. And you see the look on this poor guy. You know, he's so frustrated, and he knows that the offensive line is not doing him any mistakes. He knows he's making mistakes too, but the offensive line is making it worse. So I saw that picture of him walking off the field, and there were times when he was getting up off the turf that he looked like, holy fuck, this is like the worst of USC. You know, USC had a bad offensive line. This could be even fucking worse.
And he's taking shots on the sidelines. That if that had been Jordan Love, they'd have thrown the flag. And then Roschon gets punched on the sideline, no flag. Mm-hmm. The same old shit, man. How many times did we say Justin Fields gets hit over and over and over, no flags? Mm-hmm. Same thing happened to 18 this weekend. And then, I mean, you got Roschon on the bench, no carries. Herbert had 2. Look, I'm not saying Swift was a bad pick, but if he's got 14 carries for 18 yards, and I'm not saying that's his fault, that's offensive line, but maybe put someone, he's a smaller guy. Mm-hmm. Maybe put one of the bigger backs in there to run through some of those tackles, wear them down. And for God's sakes, can we please get 14 out of the fucking huddle? If you're having problems blocking, why not go with Komet and Lewis?
Right.
I don't know what's happening here, man. I'm interrupting. I'm sorry. I'm impassioned about what we
No,
saw,
I'm
and it
glad.
wasn't good, but it still was almost good enough. That's
Yeah.
the good thing.
Mhm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This defense, we're bitching and moaning about the offense, but we should save a lot of time for praising the defense, because this defense truly does look like a top five defense. And Vizsla Joe says everyone's losing their minds over 2 games. Chill already. No, we're not losing our minds, Vizzo. We're just stating what we're seeing. And what we're seeing is an offense that for the 2024 season has been very, very slow to develop. And a lot of that is easily pinned on the offensive coordinator. Plus, it's pretty obvious that some of these guys up front, like what's his name? Connor Shelton or Shelton
Yeah,
Connor?
he's a bad pickup.
He's awful. I mean, Greg Gabriel, praised him when we first got him, but I'm thinking to myself, well, why would the Rams let him go? They need offensive line help. And it's like, he started for them like 2 seasons, and I don't think he was ever considered better than average, if that. And he's not playing anywhere near average so far this season. He's being overpowered. Listen, I was going to do this later with the guys, but I want to do it now. Take a look at this 3-play package from the second half. The Bears in the second half got the ball first. They went 3 and out. Then the Texans went 3 and out, and then they punted to the Chicago Bears. The ball was down at the 13-yard line because DeAndre Carter didn't fair catch it and let it roll. He was pissed off at himself because it was down at the 13. So this is the first play Waldron calls, Dan. It's a sweep to the left side with DeAndre sweep, but he can't get it to the corner because of the blocking. And it's a run play out of the shotgun. Watch it from behind. First of all, it's Braxton Jones, the left tackle. He doesn't have the strength to combat, I think that's Will Anderson, one of those great pass rushers, and he just pushes him back and forces Shelton to widen it out. And then there's our guy, Shelton, the center. He fails to get out to that linebacker and put the block on him, and the linebacker gets the tackle 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So not only am I complaining about the play call, I'm also complaining about those 2 offensive linemen. They should, at this point in their careers, be making that tackle as easily as I take my dick out every night and jerk off. That's the bottom line. And the next play is 2nd down and 14. It's now at the 9-yard line. So what are they going to do? This one is another play action call out of the shotgun. I don't know why we can't be under center when we're that deep in our zone, but watch what happens from behind. Again, it's number 65, the center. As you said, Dan, he's being pushed right into the quarterback's lap, and he disrupts the play. You can't fucking have that. Shelton should be able to hold his own against a defensive tackle and not get pushed back 7 yards into the lap of the quarterback. Additionally, on this play, watch what happens here. Caleb perhaps makes a mistake. Now, it's difficult to tell because there's progressions, and we don't know, if this receiver was number 1, number 2, number 3 on the progression chart. But I got to believe, because of the play call, watch the middle linebacker at the top of the screen behind the goalpost. He is going to move to his left because DeAndre Swift is getting the handoff, and he's following DeAndre Swift. But it's a fake. So what happens? Caleb, who is looking right at, I believe that's DJ Moore, he's looking right at him, decides not to throw. He knows he's going to be in that open space. Justin Fields used to do this all the time and drive me crazy. He knows the receiver's going to be there. That ball's got to be gone. That ball's got to be gone. It's got to be gone. And in DJ Moore's hands, where he's picking up yards and getting close to a first down. But no, he allows the rush to get to him, and then he just throws it away, errantly towards Rome Odunze. And finally, on the third play of this drive, I can't believe the play call here. You're back in your own end zone. You need 14 yards to get that first down. And what do? You send 2 receivers. Now, this is max protect, so he got that right. But you're sending 2 way deep. Way deep. I mean, get the fuck out of here. There's no way, even with max protect against this line, that they're going to hold the blocks. And so he ends up not getting sacked. Caleb Williams showed that magic of him and got away. That was when Will Anderson was saying, I can't believe he got away from me. I had him in the background. And just from the other side, again, now maybe I'm looking at this wrong, man. And look at Travis Homer. He's supposed to be, a good blocking. But what happens here is he thinks, I think it's number 29. He thinks 29 or number 0 is going to rush in. And so he moves to his right to pick up that block, but he doesn't. The guy goes back in coverage, and now he's going to help out Braxton Jones, who needs a lot of fucking help against this guy, and he can't get there in time. And that forces Caleb out of the pocket, and it's just a fucking mess. Dan, I apologize for pontificating on those clips, but I saw that and I said, you know what? I'm not even going to save it for Buffon 55. I want Dan to see it and Dan to understand what I understand. This fucking Shane Waldron guy appears to be another Luke Getsy.
I hate the shotgun all the time. Even if what first and goal from the 1, we're going to be in the shotgun. And I bitched about that during Getsy's entire run, and it's continuing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, live, I did not see DJ Moore open on the slant, which, again, you just showed. And like you said, that was something that we wanted Justin to correct during his tenure, was to take the easy open receiver, which hopefully he's doing in Pittsburgh now. They are 2-0, so I hope he's getting coached up on that. But like you said, that's all that was a problem. The personnel, even on that, I know Gerald Everett held his block on that third down play, but why is he in there right there?
Yeah, I don't understand.
He's not the blocking tight end. Is it supposed to confuse the Texans defense?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. And I don't know why Roschon, I don't know if he's just that hurt or if he's in the doghouse. Herbert scored the touchdown. He's had, 4 carries the whole season?
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
So let me ask you this. For the Colts game, the Colts gave up 250 yards, I think, rushing. So their run defense sucks. They gave that up to the Packers, who, by the way, this LaFleur guy that we all hate, he's actually pretty fucking good. I mean, he's got a backup quarterback that they picked up off the street 2 weeks ago. And what does he do in the kid's first start? He runs the ball 53 times. Duh, fucking Shane Waldron. Why aren't you running the ball 30 times with Caleb? LaFleur runs it 53 times. The kid only throws 12 times, and they beat the crap out of the Colts. Now, I don't understand why so many offensive coordinators, so many play callers get married to throwing the ball when it's so fucking obvious.
And they're not even throwing the ball down the field. It's
right.
These Matt Nagy, lateral passes,
mm-hmm.
which again is maddening. Like, how many times can you throw the little the screen pass, essentially? It's not really a screen in terms of the blitz is coming, and you're going to hit the back. But I'm just saying the wide receiver's just doing a small, button hook to the sideline that's 4 yards or 3 yards. Or
right.
How many play calls can we have like that? It's almost like, again, if you didn't know any better, if you'd been incarcerated or you'd been in a coma and you just woke up, you would think, Getsy's still here, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Now, it's they will say, these offensive coordinators, well, that's another form of a run because, it's a high percentage pass and catch, and you're going to pick up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards, But what they fail to realize is that when you are running straight ahead and you're pushing forward as opposed to blocking out of the shotgun, you're going to tire the defensive line faster. They're going to start to wear down. And those runs out of under center that are gaining you 2 yards, going to gain you 10 yards, 3 yards going to gain you 20 yards because you're wearing down that defensive line. And when you got those two defensive ends that the Texans have, and Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., those guys just love rushing the quarterback. Love right. So what do? You run right at those fuckers. And if you're telling me, yeah, but our blockers couldn't even block on those plays that were run plays, well-designed run plays, then yeah, okay. If that's the case, then we got an even bigger problem. But the problem starts because
how many times do they run on first down and then it's 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11?
Yep.
First 2 games, they've been completely incapable of consistently running the football, especially on first down.
Yeah. Well, before we bring in our partners over at BCP, well, let's talk you and I about the defense. I mean, because they deserve praise. Can
I say one thing negative though?
Okay, sure.
In both games, it felt like, and again, I can't tell you exactly what they were running, and let's break down the tape and blah blah blah. But the first half, it seemed like whatever they were doing was wrong. It's like whatever we're doing in the second half, that's what we need to do in the first half. Like in both games, the second half defense made the appropriate adjustments clearly and held the teams down in the second half immensely. But in the first half of both games, whether that was obviously the Titans and their bum quarterback or a good quarterback for the Texans, the first half, both both opposing offenses were scoring, not at will, but definitely having their way. Like 3 possessions against the Texans, they're scoring. And then in the second half, they tighten it up. Like, I don't know why they have to wait to the third quarter to play as good as they are in the second halves.
Well, they have said in press conferences that they are constantly making adjustments throughout the game, that this whole thing about making halftime adjustments, a lot of those adjustments are already being made in the second quarter, and then they fine tune whatever in the locker room at halftime. But I'm not upset. Yeah, they gave up 16 points in the first half. But when you look at the fact that you're playing the Houston Texans, you're playing them in their home stadium, and they have firepower. I mean, they have 3 receivers. We've all been talking about our 3 receivers are the best in the NFL or blah, blah, blah. No, those guys have a better trio of wide receivers right now because they've got experience. They've been in that offense a year or two, and Nico Collins is so vastly underrated. So to give up 16 points in the first half, I'm not going to cry over that. What I'm going to cry of is that the offense is not helping the defense. That's what I'm going to cry. But where are the bright spots on defense for you?
Well, obviously, shutting down the team to holding them to 3 points in the second half is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This team, we were told, again, was Super Bowl bound, even though they've won 1 playoff game. I just, again, it's maddening to me that we keep hearing how great the Texans are. Like, dude, where are they going to be? They'll be, probably first round, second round, and gone at best. Now, I'll take that because the Bears, seemingly, we haven't made the playoffs since 2020, but I think they're overrated. But having said that, the second half, the defense, they got that turnover on the goal line when we needed it. Kyler almost had a pick 6. I mean, they're just everywhere. And other than, I'd like to see Sweat be more active, maybe getting some sacks, given his, the fact of who he was last year when we had him. But other guys are stepping up. They did get pressure. And the second half, the defense was everything we wanted it to be. Again, and getting off the field, forcing punts, getting turnovers. What else can you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to expect much more than what they've given us at this point. All right, we've got some of the BCP guys backstage. I think we should start bringing them in. I'm going to start with bringing in PJ. What do you think about that, Dan?
PJ is the gentleman.
Yeah, there he is. PJ was the first one here before the show. He says some nice things to Dan about marriage and so forth. And I said, dude, what the fuck are you doing here? This is the bar room. You got to come in here and tell Dan, hey, what the fuck is happening, fat ass?
All right, Thank you guys for helping me, man. I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you very much.
Oh man, I can't. I've really been waiting for this moment for a long time. I should have just had you on the show and fuck this Carl guy who looks like Kyle Orton and Shorty. Shorty and Foster are two of the funniest guys I've ever hung out with. I mean, these guys are a barrel of laugh. I'll show you some shit later when they're on. Being with them at the Bears game was hilarious. But PJ,
I bet you that was a good time.
How are you? Yeah. Oh
I'm
my
good,
gosh. Wish you were there.
I wish I was.
Do you live in the Chicago area?
I'm out at Central Illinois.
Oh,
Central
okay.
Illinois, downstate.
So it's what, a 2-3 hour drive to Soldier Field?
Yep. About 3 hours.
When was the last time you made that drive?
I was there for the Raiders game last year, I believe. I think it was the Raiders game. Yeah.
I went to that game.
Yeah. I was at the Raiders game. I think it was the Raiders. When Justin got hurt in the second quarter, am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Dan's fault that happened because he was there, and when Dan goes to a game, they rarely win.
No, I was with Heidi that day, and they did win. Actually, not to contradict PJ, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but Bajent started that day. Bajent started and got the win. Tyson Bajent, 17.
Against the Raiders. Yeah. Against the Vikings, it was when Fields got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, I was at the Vikings game then. Whichever game he got hurt. I remember that. Whichever game he got hurt.
That was the play that has always driven me crazy about Justin Fields. Very first play of the game, they call empty backfield. He calls for the offensive line. He makes the adjustment. The offensive line to block right. He sees 6 guys on the defensive line. He knows he's only got 5. And what happens? He gets the hike. He doesn't drift to the right like he told the offensive lineman to do and he's supposed to do. And he didn't throw the short pass. Instead, he looks to his left and there's Danielle Hunter. Bam! Like, dude.
You know, he did a similar thing the other day. It was a 6-man blitz, and then it had 5 guys protection. But he waited till the guy got on him. Then he sprinted out to his left and made like a 15-yard gain. So, I mean, I don't know if that's what he was trying to do that time then, but hopefully he's grown, with the how you want to handle the blitz. But I saw that. I was like happy for him for that.
Are you still a huge Justin fan? I know you've really appreciated
him. I like him as more because, for the longest time, we always talked about how we needed a leader. So he showed me leadership. So I actually like his leadership. I'll be the first to admit he does need to improve on certain aspects. I agree with that. But so the short answer is yes, I still like him. I just thought that with him and more draft picks, we could fix the O-line. We could fix the defense. We wouldn't be in this situation because where we at now, I hear people questioning Caleb already. Oh, he doesn't process as much as Joe Burrow did when he was a rookie. And, he's not doing this. I'm like, that's the problems we have with a young quarterback. Give them time. They need help.
Yeah. That's a perfect analysis, and I completely agree with it. I have seen a little of Justin playing with the Steelers, and I do believe that he is progressing, and he could potentially be the number 1 quarterback there this season. So I would love to see that for him, and of course, we get a higher draft pick. Dan, you seen any of the Justin Fields plays with Steelers?
Negative. I haven't watched any other games other than ours. But I saw the scores. I know they're 2-0, and like PJ, I'm rooting for Justin. And I've never been a Pittsburgh fan in any way, but I guess you could say if I have a second favorite team right now, it's the Steelers, only because I'm rooting for Justin.
Okay, I love it. Yeah. Hey, PJ, of these 2 guys, since Foster's not backstage yet, I will ask you: out of Kyle Orton, also known as Karl Marx, or Mr. Shorty, which one of them is the bigger pain in the ass?
I think Shorty will always be a pain in the butt. I think he will always be, because simply any guy who walks around with a tattoo of GHS,
I know.
I was like, I gotta love his fandom and his craziness.
Well, I was gonna make fun of that, but then I got a fucking tattoo of the bar and Dave Farm. So How stupid am I? And to make it even worse, the neon sign behind me today, I go to turn it on, it didn't fucking turn on. I'm like, holy shit, I thought neon was supposed to last forever. And I really love that sign. That was a gift from the Barflies after our second year. They won't pay for the show, but they'll buy me a neon sign. I like that. All right, let's bring in Mr. Shorty, the guy who is a pain in the ass. Mr. Shorty, how are you, brother?
I'll tell you what, I've been taking notes the entire time.
Jeez, what does it say? Aldo being mean?
No, nothing like that. But I will say, look at the shirt that Aldo bought us at the game.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
That's a nice shirt.
Aldo bought Foster and I these shirts. On the back, it says,
I'll turn around. He doesn't even remember. Bitch, I'm a bear. Those are pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, so thank you, Aldo, for the shirts.
You got it.
Awesome.
I didn't have any 3XL there, Aguirre, so.
I'm going to say...
I only need 3 for the length,
3 for the length? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm 6'5". The shorts are too short on me.
Yeah, you're right.
I will add that, PJ, yes, even though I need to have it redone with actual Bears blue.
Mm-hmm.
But it's yes, you are correct. I'm a big pain in the ass because of that. So I have to live up to that tattoo. Because one day, if they don't do it, I'm gonna be one of those guys going to that place that removes the tattoo because I'm like, fuck this, I can't deal with this team anymore. If they fail with this quarterback, it's gonna happen. This whole moment in my life has led up to this. If they fail him, it's going to make me remove that tattoo. I'll also say, just listening to you guys on the show, I was laughing at Dan for the JF1 or his Justin Fields response. I forgot what it was now because you guys made me lose track of it. But whatever Dan said about Justin Fields, it was the Pittsburgh thing. He said he could care less about any other. You asked him if he watched any games, and I'm the same way, Dan. You know that we don't. The two Dans here just could give a shit less about football other than the Bears. I don't watch college football. I don't play fantasy football. Monday nights on in the background, Thursday nights on in the background, but Bears games, you and I are tuned in on that. The other Dan.
That is correct, sir.
And so, like, I will go and just kind of peek at the YouTube videos that people put out of the game that Justin had, and all I can say is he seems to be the same quarterback. I don't know if you want me to get in the whole Caleb thing right now because it's my first. Should we bring in Carl first, and we can all kind of talk about all that at once? Because once I get going, you're gonna have to give me a few minutes.
As you know, because you've directed your own shows over at Bears Country Productions, which everyone who is watching this and everyone who knows me should be subscribing to or have subscribed to Bears Country Productions for outstanding programming with BJ, Mr. Shorty, Foster Covers. But this other guy that we're going to bring in next, as soon as he's finished fucking wiping the demons from his face. Who's with you there? Who is that guy? Let's bring him in now. His name is Carl. Oh, we're gonna have to take this thing off there. Oh, there you go.
Well, Aldi, PJ called Shorty the bigger pain in the ass, but he's talking from experience. Physical pain in the ass.
That's hilarious.
Perfect. That's perfect. Keep that right there, please.
Kyle, you are really talented. Kyle Orton. By the way, Dan Aguirre, doesn't he look like Kyle Orton?
He does.
Yeah, I said that
Dan
last
is the
time
one
he was here.
Yeah, Mr. Aguirre's the one who spawned that comment, so that's all him.
I love it, man.
Except you don't have the neck beard. If you just didn't trim it there, you would look more like Kyle Orton. If it went down into your shirt line.
He's working on it.
Yeah,
I'm trying my hardest. I'm trying my hardest.
Good. That'd be perfect for Halloween, man.
Better than just dressing up as your wife, right, Aldo?
You're much better. By the way, Mr. Shorty was so nice to purchase me and Foster Covers a ticket to that Bears game. That he got that awesome Caleb Williams shirt, and I got a chance to interview Mr. Shorty after the game. This is what that interview looked like.
Oh no!
So, what'd you think of the game?
Defense and special teams came through.
Oh, no shit, Sherlock.
I called that interception.
Sure.
Tyreek Stevenson interception.
Right, buddy.
I called it. I turned to everybody around me. I said, we're going to intercept the ball in this drive.
Yeah, right, mister. Mm-hmm.
It did. Nobody could believe it, including myself.
Enough with the fucking lies.
I hope the offense starts to come around. It's just Caleb's first game.
No.
I'm excited. A win is all that matters.
You sure about that?
That's my man, Mr. Shorty.
Mr. Shorty off the gummies.
Yeah, exactly.
I promise you, my cousin as my witness who was there with me, next to me in my seats, I called that to everyone in my oval of high fives. And it happened, and I got mauled with high fives. It was, I couldn't believe it happened. I was just like,
yeah, I can't believe it happened either.
I've done that a lot, though.
Didn't.
Like the Dolphins game, Aldo, that you and Dan and I were at.
That is true.
I pulled out my phone because I'm like, touchdown, right here. I pull out my phone. Justin Fields has a 68-yard touchdown or whatever it is on that one run, and I got it all on my phone. I have like if you go look at Bears Country Productions and go look at the shorts, you will see a lot of touchdowns on there. Do you think I just was recording every single play? No, it just came from like the vision of it happening, and that happened in that game, that pick six. It happened because I just felt it. I don't know. I'm an alien, my wife says. So
I think I shot those and you stole them from my phone is what I think.
But are you an illegal alien?
No, I'm totally legal.
Okay.
Dan, you're being quiet over there. Are you alone or are you with your wife?
No, I'm at work. I've got a tweet to read to you, though, if you're
Please do.
Mark Potash. Justin Fields is 2-0. Luke Getsy scored 26 versus the Ravens and won. With Gardner Minshew, by the way. Darnell Mooney beat the Eagles. Lucas Patrick is the top-rated guard in the National Football League. It's not the quarterback, the OC, or the supporting cast. What else could it be? The water at Hallis Hall?
It's probably Mark Potash himself. I mean, he's as toxic as it gets, in my opinion. But sorry
he
to be
also
rude.
Pointed out that James Daniels is doing well in the league too.
Yes, he is.
The Bears thought that James Daniels would do well, right? I'm pretty sure they offered him a contract, but he chose to leave. I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I will say this. I read that column. He took that from his column in the Chicago Sun-Times. I read the entire article, and he came up with a lot of statistical trivia stuff that are kind of all points, not all of it, pointed to Bears' hard luck, but some of it was also positive. I think, I don't think Mark is deliberately trying to be toxic. He does like to fuck around with fans on Twitter.
I do.
But I think he's a reporter. He's just reporting facts. I don't think he hates the Bears. He would love the Bears to win. Need more beer for him to drink.
I think it's more of a culture of not knowing your identity. I mean, I don't know if they want to be a finesse team, a power team.
Good point.
I mean, I just don't think they have a direction on how they want to do this. And it shows because, you have a rookie quarterback and you're having empty sets, throwing the ball, dropping back 44 times at least. I mean, that's against a top defense. You're asking for murder. I mean, we did that same thing with Fields against Cleveland on this first start. So why are we continually doing the same thing? And then when quarterbacks start developing these bad habits, then we're going to fault them for it because they're now working out of let me survive as opposed to, let me go through my reads. No, let me survive because I don't trust this guy in front of me because he's going to walk this defensive lineman in my lap. So I just don't understand the whole philosophy. I don't see why we're not like Green Bay did, running the ball 50-something times with a young quarterback.
May I read a tweet?
Please do.
Justin Fields through the first 2 weeks of the 2024 season. 273 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 41.8 QBR. Justin Fields in his first season in the NFL. 277 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. To me, that screams a quarterback who isn't growing 4 years apart.
I would disagree because I would say that he's through more.
Although I'm sorry.
Sorry about what? I love debate, even if it has to be with you.
Well played, well played.
Listen, I think that a 2-game sample is way too fucking early to make judgments on. Plus, you have to account for the fact that he's in a new offense. Arthur Smith is his offensive coordinator. It takes a while to get a vibe going with your OC. It takes a while to get a vibe going with your wide receivers and so forth. And they are fully aware of Justin being Tomlin and Arthur Smith. They're fully aware of Justin Fields' problem. They're not going to throw him into the dark part, the deep part of the ocean. They're going to help develop him as he goes along. This is what the Bears coaching staff should be doing for Caleb.
That's exactly the same scenario, though, that you just described. I mean, Caleb is in a new offense. He's a rookie in the NFL. He's new to the NFL. And the skill group around him is new to the team and new to the system. There was one other point I wanted to make, but it's swimming away. I'm sorry.
Then how do you not say he's growing? I mean, because he is still growing. I mean, he's not no
Caleb Williams.
Newton. He's not. Caleb Williams is not even Caleb Williams. What he done?
No, PJ. I'm not sure who you're talking about right now.
I'm talking about Justin Fields.
Okay.
I mean, he's growing. He's not growing at the rate to where he's a Super Bowl quality or MVP type quarterback today, but I still think he's growing. And the fact that Pittsburgh really only have one starting wide receiver right now. I mean, Van Jefferson, if you can think he's starter quality, I disagree. You have one guy, and that guy is doubled a lot of times, but still Fields are making how many passes that get called back for one penalty or another? I must have counted at least 3 already this year. And I'm talking about 40-plus yards in the air. And it's getting called back for a holding penalty or something. So you're going to deduct those. Is that on Fields because his offensive lineman held the guy and a 50-yard play gets called back? So that 117 yards turned to 167 yards.
All I can say is I am so glad we're having this conversation on the Ballroom because I was dreading this was going to happen on BCP this Thursday. Get it out of your system, PJ.
Yep.
We'll put all your angst on
I'm
the
not saying
Ballroom.
he's perfect. That's the whole thing. I'm not saying the guy's perfect. He's not. But to constantly dump on the guy, I mean, in another year, we're going to be dumping on Caleb because Caleb's going to develop some bad habits.
Mark Potash might. I won't.
Okay. All right.
The last thing I'll say regarding that is that I would have the growing into a new offense factor apply to a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract as opposed to a Justin Fields in his 4th year who we eventually would have to pay at least $25 million a year. So
is he still not on
listen, I don't live here anymore, so I put a lot of thought into this, listening to the score, and when the score has like the White Sox previous manager when they won the World Series on there talking, I can't stand listening to him talk, so I just go to ESPN and then back to the score, and I hear the same poisonous shit on the media that I heard my entire life growing up, and it brought me all back to everything that I'm going to say. I want you all to know that based on all of that and not living here anymore and coming back and listening to the radio and then being involved in the podcast world before and after that, I'm going last. So you and Dan and Aldo I'm last on this one.
Why?
Because I want to have the final say on it because I think I'm going to pull it all together.
Oh, look at you.
I want to know what Dan and you have to think about this as well.
All right, Dan, go ahead. What do you think?
Wait, I'm talking about Fields or what aspect? What's
Fields
the question?
Caleb Williams. I mean, it kind of got into Fields compared to, but we really shouldn't compare the two or contrast the two. It should be about what's going on with Caleb. But if you want to add some interjection based on
I have no opinion. I just said I'm rooting for Fields. I've not watched one snap he's had in Pittsburgh. I know they're 2-0. That makes me happy for him. I still root for him, but I don't know anything he's doing over there. And frankly, I don't care what he's doing over there, other than I hope he's playing well, but I'm not going to fanboy it. Caleb, I'm rooting for. It's been rough the first couple weeks. You got a block for him. I'm not sure what else to say on it, though. I mean, but I'm not in any way ready to say that Caleb is a bust or something after 2 starts. There's just no way. I'm not getting any pussy tonight. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
That's not a real quote. You can tell, but my voice is too high there.
We couldn't tell.
Carl does that to me too.
So we're talking about deep fakes. What? No super chats?
Hey, I believe Foster is here, but I think he's frozen. Let's see. Yeah. This looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah, Dan Aguirre, this looks like the Zapruder film, doesn't it? Where did Dan go?
I'm here.
Jesus.
The scrolls.
We got an open spot for you, Foster, when you come. Ah, there he is. Look at how handsome he is.
Oh my goodness! Wow, you've done like a whole makeup here for the whole the screens. I like it.
Yeah, Karl Marx inspired me. He does nice work with directing your shows.
Thank you. Not a commie, by the way. Not a commie.
Foster, are you unfrozen, or are you just are frozen?
He's off the stairs, man. He's trolling.
And let me tell you something. This guy, being next to him at the Bears game, was
I'm
so
sorry.
fucking funny.
Is his?
I'm sorry, Aldo.
But you know what? It's like, dude, when are you gonna start paying attention to the game? Like this is what happened at one point. He's not watching the game. He's watching dog porn.
You can see his mustache is stained from all the women juice on there. It's awesome. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually very polite, Carl. I thought it was stained from cigarette nicotine, but yeah.
I don't know what else is going on there. He busted out a story about snorting something off of somewhere that shall not be recited. So I will not put it past Foster.
And Foster has taken over your title of being a coxman. That he had sex about 6 hours before I shot that video. I can still smell it on him. Yeah,
I promise you, like, we walked up and met Aldo up at the seats, Foster and I, because we took the train together and met Aldo there. So we just walked up there because it's in La La Land. Nobody cared. Nobody even looked at our tickets, you know. And Aldo's like, he's not going to try to fuck me later, is he? I'm like, no, he got laid like twice last night, but it's by some toothless woman in Wisconsin. He's like, you're like, I said he's out of cum. That's what I said. Like,
yeah, that's right.
You're like, no, I don't believe.
Did you make sure of that?
Did you, Aldo?
No, every time he brought up the topic of sex, which was often, you know, I say, hey, look at the game. So,
dude, we dropped him off with you because he had been talking all morning, all day. He like got on the train like he was on like an 8-ball of cocaine, the way he was talking.
Oh,
and they talked all the way until we dropped him off to you, and we both were like, oh, thank God we can finally hear ourselves think again. And I was like, I turned to Steve, I was like, God, I feel sorry for Aldo right now. We just left him with that for like the next 3 hours.
And then we all got together again as we're leaving the stadium, and Foster's talking again, and Shorty interrupts and says, go ahead, Shorty, you remember what you said?
Yeah, he was like going on talking that we were walking. We were getting right over that bridge part, you know, like Grant Park where you walk over the train areas, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna save you from this conversation.
That was exactly it.
So I was like, interjected and just started talking to you, and you were like, oh, thank you so much.
All right, Dan Aguirre, get us back on the Bears topic of the Bears. What do you want to talk about with these four gentlemen?
I mean, I want to find a way to win Sunday. Somebody tell me the Bears are going to win. That's what I want to hear.
Anybody here feeling really confident about Sunday?
DeForest Buckner is probably out. Their stud defensive lineman. Hopefully, our running game can get on track, and I think that would be the key to victory.
Run downhill out of the center position. Push that defensive line of the Colts. Push them back. Establish the run game, and if Caleb throws 15 times, fine, no problem. As long as we win the game, that's it. Shorty, what do you think?
Well, since we're done talking about the whole, I thought you guys were all going to go around the horn so I could finish my piece about the whole Caleb Williams thing.
Don't poke the bear.
I never got to finish it, so I'm just going to finish it.
Go ahead.
Nope. All rookie quarterbacks get blitzed all season long, all game long, every game. It's going to happen. Just be prepared for it. And we're gonna all be able to bitch our way through the deficiencies of the offensive line because of that. It's going to happen. You cannot tell me that the NFL has not been on notice for the Bears finally having a quarterback like Caleb Williams going into this season. They are going to blitz him every game, as much as they can, and see how well he reacts to it. It's going to depend on, for me, I'm wondering why there isn't more of the slashing Khalil Herbert runs in the game. I'm wondering why there are not more of the Roschon Johnson's elite blocking skills as a running back. I'm wondering why there's not more Mercedes Lewis in there in the 12 personnel 2 tight end set where he is a blocker. Like, you have to get your head together, Shane Waldron. You do have this amazing talent, but don't ruin him with everything we all talked about with Justin Fields. Don't ruin him that way.
How about running Blasingame in there too and just playing the fullback all night?
He was inactive on IR or something like that.
I thought they cut him, but I did hear he's back on the team. But you could also put...
He played week 1.
He did.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. He should be active Sunday and should be on the field a lot.
So he was either hurt or inactive because he was hurt.
Inactive.
I can't remember.
He was
Why not go?
He had a terrible week 1 as well. I'm sorry, guys.
1-2 punch with Roschon and Caleb Herbert, or Herbert and Roschon Johnson. Then using number 20, whose name I can't even remember anymore. Like, I don't even know why he's still on the team.
Yet you should be able to remember his name. You're a homer, Travis Homer.
Travis Homer, yes. That makes no sense to me. And number 14, Gerald Everett. Like, he's slow. He's fast, but he's slow. He doesn't have off the ball quickness. He doesn't make any plays work because he's just so slow off of the line. I've seen it in 2 games already. I saw it in the preseason. He needs to be playing less. Mercedes Lewis needs to be playing more because of his blocking capabilities. And then all of a sudden you're going to have that, it's just going to come out of nowhere where he's going to catch a ball because he's been blocking the whole damn game. Roschon Johnson is a great blocker. He's one of the best blockers, if not the best blocker at running back position coming out of college. And he proved it with us as well. He needs to play more. Khalil Herbert has to have more of those slashing plays. Get rid of number 20 for this next game plan. More Mercedes Lewis, more Cole Kmet, less Gerald Everett, and we can make this work. We can max protect this quarterback. That's all you have to do. Figure out the way to max protect this quarterback because he's going to miss a blitz or 2. He's a rookie. And I'm back to my listening to the radio on the way to work and on the way back to work every day now where I haven't had that luxury. I've been here for a month now. It's been driving me crazy. It's brought it all back to that PTSD I had about the media and the fans here. Having no patience and constantly we're not all fucking quarterbacks and we're not all offensive and defensive coordinators. You live on your couch and you work at your job and you work at your job. You don't work in the NFL. You don't know what's going on.
I never thought about it that way. Thank you.
So just relax. and allow the process to work and allow it to happen and stop pretending you're the most that you know the most out of all the Bears fans. You're this biggest armchair quarterback, including the media, all of us. We have to stop doing that and just allow the process to happen and hope that they can just put the right personnel in the right moments to max protect at all time this quarterback, because he is the most valuable asset to this team in God knows how many years. Do not destroy him. I'm done.
That was brilliant. Let me ask you a question. When you are chastising these people, saying you're not a quarterback and so forth, which podcasters are you including in that?
I'm including everybody. Like, unless
I want names. Are you including Swifty?
I'm talking about. No, I'm saying all of us as fans, including myself. We need to just be proactive and not. People get poisonous. People get they get like that their opinion is the most important, and we all have our own opinions, and we can sit here and say this and say that. But this team does need to incorporate max protection for a quarterback. Period.
You are gay.
So you're saying myself? I'm including myself in this.
Look at the comment.
The guy sounds like a gay. I'm totally gay right now. I'm the Bears.
Me too. I gotta admit. Oh man. You know what? This is temporary disappointment. This is going to get better. Unfortunately, though, the troubling thing is that we've seen this happen before with this organization. They continually hire offensive coordinators who say they're committed to the run, but are not committed to the run. We hire general managers who say they want to build in the trenches first, and they don't build in the trenches first. We see a young, promising quarterback, and we ruin them because we give them no protection and or no weapons. So we've seen this movie before, and that's the disturbing thing about this. And so hopefully they will correct the mistakes. Ryan Poles, you fucked up. You did not get the weapons to protect this guy. I fell in love with Roma Dunze too. I really, really wanted him, but maybe that was not the best decision.
The ball hit him in the hands, by the way, in the end zone.
Yeah.
That's got to be a catch.
Yeah. He's not 100%.
That should have been a touchdown.
It should have been a touchdown. I totally agree. I think he's going to be an outstanding wide receiver, but maybe Musha Muhammad was right. Is it Musan that said Chicago? Musin said that Chicago is where wide receivers go to die. Yeah, that could happen to Rome, because we didn't get offensive linemen. We should have traded it back into the first round or at least the second round and drafted some higher quality, ready to go, plug and play offensive linemen, or at least compete. I mean, any center right now in the National Football League, I would take over the Shelton guy. Any of them.
Even Lucas Patrick, although he's playing guard, I guess.
Lucas Patrick, according to Pro Football Focus, you're right, he's playing left guard for the Steelers, is the way I saw it, the top 15th ranked guard in pro football. Now, Mark Potash in that tweet that was just read said that he was even higher than that. Go ahead, Kyle.
Aldo, I just want to say, if you're going to use PFF as a crutch, the fictitious stats that those are, Lucas Patrick is the top-rated guard in the entire NFL according to PFF. Coleman Shelton is the 12th ranked center. So you have to kind of keep it balanced here. You're seeing these low lights. You're seeing these low lights of Coleman Shelton tripping on Tevin Jenkins, which was bad. You are seeing Coleman Shelton getting walked back a little bit against, I think that was Mario Edwards, but regardless, anyone on the Texans D-line had a crazy good game last week. So it kind of just takes a little bit of back and forth. I'm assuming you're going to be showing me this play.
Well, I'm going to show you what I opened the show with, showing these three plays. Look at number 65. He's the center, right? First, Borum loses his block, but keep an eye on 65.
Braxton.
Yeah, Braxton fucks this up. You know, he just doesn't have the power to deal with some of these guys. And well, anyway, but here's Coleman. He's supposed to block that middle linebacker. I'm going to get over there sometime. And then a 4-yard loss. And it happens.
But he couldn't cut it upfield because Braxton got blown up as well, it looked like.
But he still missed the block. Now, one more here that I'll show you. This is his pass blocking. He just gets overpowered and sent into the lap of Caleb Williams. Watch it again here, number 65.
What's the down and distance, though?
It's I had the graphic up there just then. Second down and 14 after the 4-yard loss. So
that play came on 2nd and 14, an obvious passing situation after the Bears couldn't get their rookie quarterback into a more favorable down and distance.
Right. That is
I don't
correct.
know. I think that DeAndre Swift is overrated. I didn't think that he was worthy of the money that the Bears paid for him. I think that he was only able to muster a measly 1,000 yards behind a legendary Eagles offensive line. I think that anyone on this panel could have gotten those 1,000 yards, if we're being honest, especially with the silly tush-push rule. But I don't know. I think that the problem with the offense right now is that they can't establish the run. They're putting Caleb into the shotgun, making it a very obvious passing situation. In a very small sample size, we just played some good defensive linemen. Arguably the best defensive tackle tandem, potentially, if Tafondre Sweat plays as good as he did against the Bears, and arguably the best outside pass rusher combo with Danielle Hunter and I keep forgetting Will Anderson Jr.'s name. So I don't know. It's just such a small sample size. Thank God that DeForest Buckner is not suiting up against the Bears. And to that point regarding the Colts as well, Latu, their first-round pick, he was on a pitch count last week due to some sort of hip injury, so he hopefully will, not hopefully, you never want a player to be injured, but I would expect him to also only be playing roughly 50% of the snaps.
Mm-hmm. I saw this on Twitter before the show, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion on this. I forgot the guy's name who tweeted it out, but somebody said that Tevin Jenkins has not performed as well since he was moved from right guard to left guard, and also it has hurt Darnell Wright. Having Tevin Jenkins and Darnell Wright on the right side of the line, they were playing at a high level, and now they're not because they've been separated. You know, like I'm not at my best when Dan Aguirre and I are separated. I'm just not. Go ahead now.
Understandable. But what is the reason why Tevin Jenkins hasn't been offered a ludicrous contract by the Bears? It's because
he
of his
was
health.
not drafted. Yeah, that too. He was not drafted by this administration.
So
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Tevin Jenkins hasn't been offered a ludicrous contract. Any Joe Schmo, someone on the Panthers got $20 million a year just to play guard. Tevin Jenkins has flashed all-pro potential, and he's flashed that potential from left guard, if I'm being honest. He had those flashes last year. But
Right guard.
No, left guard. I promise you he played left guard when he flashed the all-pro flashes. So Tevin Jenkins has said himself that he had to specifically strengthen a certain side of his body just because when you're coming out of the snap, it's probably he has to strengthen his left side. And you want to transition a player from left guard to right guard all willy-nilly, knowing that could directly lead to more injury. It just doesn't make any sense. Tevin Jenkins is a left guard, period.
He's basically claimed it's hard for him to be a right-handed writer and start writing with his left hand. He's claimed that pretty much in those words.
He's actually said that he prefers the right guard position, but then in subsequent interviews when he was asked, he said, I'll play anywhere. But the very first time he was asked, he revealed his true feelings. And I'll tell you one other thing. I appreciate the fact that Kyle Orton is defending the offensive line because it's a small sample size, but this is coming from players. Cole Kmet is asked about what are the troubles with the run game, and he blamed Shelton, the center. He says, we're not calling out the right things. You know, I'll try to find the soundbite, but he, without naming him, he said the cadence is a problem. We're not calling out certain, assignments that have to be made, and that is on the center. I'll try to find it so that there is no disagreement.
If we are fighting over the cadence, I listened to Bears, etc., their podcast, and they said, Tom Thayer said that for an offensive line to fully get used to the cadence of their quarterback, it'd probably take about 1,000 reps. And I don't know if those are specifically in-game reps, because that would take a long time. But throughout training camp and the weeks that you're practicing, whatever, I don't know how many reps you're getting a day or a week. I think it's 200 a week. Whatever the case is, it's going to take time for them to get fully used to the cadence. And I don't want to pretend I know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the offensive line play. I fucking don't. The cadence is how he's calling, like, for example, a cadence would be Prescott going, here we go, that shit. So that's the cadence.
So it's like Omaha or Hood or
exactly.
Blue
That's the cadence.
Okay.
Yeah, Rogers is Blue 19, whatever the hell it is. But either way, you're derailing me from my point here. I think it would be stupid for Tevin Jenkins to switch over, but I don't want to pretend that the offensive line is not a problem. It absolutely is. It starts there, and they need to be better. But there's reasons behind it. I think 4 of the 5 pieces are fine, and they're not very easily upgradable. Nate Davis is a different story.
PJ, what do you think?
Specifically about the run game, or because
what do you think whether Carl is a piece of shit or not?
Real, that's real. Can we do a poll in chat?
We got 3 votes. We got 3 votes for Kyle.
I'm just gonna say he's a dildo, not a piece of shit.
No, his name is Aldo, not Dildo.
Dan, you want to vote, Dan Aguirre?
No. Let's just talk football.
Dan Aguirre, you sound so sad, man. What's going on?
No, I'm just pensive about the loss. I mean, Sunday, whether it was 10 minutes before kickoff or whatever, I was thinking, man, we could be 2-0. And that feels so much better than 1-1. I know it's still 500, but for some reason you lose to the Colts. The Rams took the Lions to the wire in week 1. I'm not saying they're going to lose, but you could very easily suddenly be 1-3 when Carolina comes in. And I'm not negative. I'm hoping that they win every game. When I watch it, like I told you, they got the ball back at the end. I expected the Bears to go and steal that game.
Right.
But I've been a Bears fan, since fucking Reagan was president. So I've seen enough games to know, like one play, you lose the game, something like that. And then shit spirals. At least it has been, to where suddenly they're 1-3 and they could have been, 3-1 or at least 2-2. So yeah, I'm uptight. I mean, I'm worried about until they beat the Colts, they haven't, so I just, kickoff comes, I'll be more optimistic, but right now I'm just worried, because how many seasons have we seen just kind of dissipate right before our eyes and just be gone so quickly?
Dan,
can you put Bearski's comment on the screen?
Sure.
He says that it wasn't the result, it was the eye test. The eye test showed you that the Bears lost a 1-possession game to a Super Bowl contender
with the final
in their stadium.
In their hands. Yeah. Dan,
and they were driving. If it wasn't for a barely missed pass to Moore, I believe, they had their chances. This was a winnable game. If they got blown out and they go against the Colts and they get blown out, and then they play the Panthers and they get blown out, then you can start calling for these rolling heads, Paul. I'm sorry.
Dan, you know what I heard? I was talking about being away from the radio for 10 years, living in the Atlanta area and shit. It's like I hear on the radio. You know what I actually heard, Dan? Somebody called in and tried to make a point for Tyson Bagent starting over Caleb Williams. Because
Carolina is benching their kid. I mean, I think that's crazy too for Andy Dalton. You can't give up on your guy after 2 weeks.
Well, you can, but you can't go back to him now.
There's at least one guy in Chicagoland that feels that Tyson Bagent should play right now over Caleb Williams. And if he was trying to make the argument that, the rookies should sit for a while like the Packers rookie quarterbacks do and all that kind of shit like Mahomes did for a year. No, he wasn't. He was saying he's better. And so at least you don't have that going. At least none of us have that going for us right now, that we think that's actually the case. It's ridiculous, this media here.
I don't think it's a question of whether or not Andy Dalton's better than Bryce Young or Tyson Bagent is better than Caleb Williams. I think we are so into this instant gratification that, oh, we drafted this new guy, let him be a star right now, instead of taking the time to let him develop. Because sometimes you can learn a lot by sitting down, watching how they do it in the NFL compared to how we did it in college. You can watch things and learn things. And I think a lot of that is being passed up because people, oh, we got this guy, let's get him in right now. And because we want to get him in right now he got the growing pains and the hiccups, and oh, he's terrible. Let's replace him and all these other things. Stop being in a rush to get the new guy out there and, again, build the team up. I mean, you get another quarterback in there, you run the ball. You run the ball. You run the ball. It's nothing wrong. I mean, what is Jim Harbaugh doing out there in Los Angeles right now? Yeah. Running the ball how many times a game? Run the ball. I mean, if the ultimate goal is to win the game, that's what you do. Herm Edwards said we play to win the game, right? Let's play to win the game. Caleb will develop. Caleb has some incredible skills. He showed it in college. They will show. No need to get him out there and dropping back 50 times to pass the ball. Let's not do that. We're getting him killed behind an O-line that is suspect at best. And as far as the offensive coordinator goes, I admit, I was a higher Waldron guy. But my second choice was Kubiak. And what is he doing down there with the Saints right now? Oh my goodness, he's putting up 40 points a game. So I'd say take a step back. Let's run the ball. That's all I'm saying. Run the ball.
To Dan's point about the media, I recall when the Bears, I think it was in the 22 season, when statistically they were saying, oh, the running game, they haven't had this good a game running since 1984. And then the media was saying, this isn't sustainable. You can't win games running the ball anymore. It's not 1984. So even if the Bears, when they were winning running, they were like, oh, you got to pass more. Mm-hmm. So like to Dan's point, the Chicago media, and I'm not blaming them, but they're never happy. So again, if the Bears did come out with just fucking running the ball Sunday, they'd say, it's luck. You have to pass in today's game. So they're never happy.
Never.
And never. For me, I don't care if we win fucking 7-6 on Sunday. I just want to win, and I want Caleb to not be hurt.
Yes.
We got a special visitor, guys. His name is Foster Covers. There he is.
Big Ben Davidson.
Just introduction with a cigarette. Perfect timing.
Foster, you look like you're over at Shakespeare Police Station. They're interrogating you about a robbery on Tolman Avenue. Do you have a lawyer?
You know what? It's funny, Aldo, you almost got that story right. You got the wrong street, and that was like 45 years ago. I swear to God, but it wasn't me. I was identified. I looked like the suspect in question, and I happened to be on the street in Shakespeare, dude. In Shakespeare.
A bald guy with a pussy-stained mustache.
How does
this happen,
I'm like, wait a minute. How does Aldo know this one, man? I don't think anybody. I'm like, what the hell?
I'm happy to hear that after so many years, you're still denying it. Keep it up, brother. Keep it up. That's what a true man does.
I don't know.
I got a cover, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Either he's completely full of shit or he's totally truthful, right, PJ?
It's like, how is that possible? On that one, dude. Hey, Dan and Aldo, PJ, Carl, good to see you guys. Oh, Kyle Orton, thanks for your service, Kyle, man. I enjoyed the run, no matter what these guys think.
You are welcome.
You look like Kyle Orton.
He does.
Hey, it's better than Mark Trestman. Apparently, I look like to Dan.
Actually, you kind of do. So you're my coach, I guess. You're my coach.
I
like what Cliff said.
I'm going to go take a whiz. I'm going to leave Foster in charge.
Crap.
That's a choice.
Oh, shit. We're in trouble now. Dan, take this over. Take this off of Foster.
Someone mentioned that if Kyle would have played in the Super Bowl, the Bears would have won. Again, I just have to point out that Kyle was it the third stringer? Brian Greasy was the backup. So if they bench Rex, Kyle's not going in. It's Greasy. People always forget that. For
The real argument is that if either of Tommy Harris or Mike Brown played that Super Bowl, the Bears win. So
I don't know. I think the Bears have had a history of not developing quarterbacks. I mean, it's either we got the weapons, but not the line. We got a decent line, but not the weapons or the coaching. We never really had all three pieces: the coaching, the weapons, the protection, and a quarterback who can actually throw the ball beyond 50 yards. I mean, it seemed like we never had all four of those things together. And that's just worrisome to me.
What they have done at the very least is there's a GM in place who's hired his head coach, and that tandem has drafted their quarterback. That is something the Bears have not done in a long time, to my understanding.
They just did it with
well,
Maggie and
here, wait. I want to address PJ real quick and tell me Dan and Carl what
But
you
they
guys
were
know.
already fired.
So this is a philosophy that goes back to George Halas. Butkus stated it. Sayers stated it. Butkus' statement is out there. You can find it on YouTube. That they centered around a running back and a great defense, and a quarterback was just a game manager, and that takes us all the way through the Bears until McMahon. I mean, literally, if you look at it, that's, so it's kind of been a philosophy of the organization, and the family's aware of this, and it's time for a change. And I think we did right anyways. Caleb's the guy, no matter everything that's going on. These people are jumping the gun like normal,
Correct.
It's offensive line issues, and so Poles, that's probably his weakest point that he's addressed, whether it be signings or draft. Agreed?
It's gonna happen this year, though. This next draft will be.
He's got to do something.
Yeah.
Shorty, you can't. Don't let Shorty walk down from the Super Bowl prediction of his. We cannot let him do that.
I'm not doing it. There's the last game left.
We have to hold
Dan
him
was
to. We're not talking about 2025. Shorty, it's all 2024 for you.
Go in there, Aguirre. I heard you were going to say something, Dan.
No,
Aguirre.
I'm just listening.
No, I have a question for Dan Aguirre myself.
Okay.
But my question is, do you believe that Eberflus is on the hot seat?
No, not yet. If for some reason they start out and we go from 1-0 like they did 2 years ago, and then suddenly they have this 6-7 game losing streak, then yes. But right now, after week 2, again, in a game we could have won that people were losing sight of, I think everyone predicted when they did the schedule, when it got disseminated, everyone was like, oh, we're going to go through week by week and pick games. Everyone picked the Texans to win this game, whether it was on a podcast or ESPN radio or the score or wherever. Everyone seemed to say this was a loss. Okay, well, everyone was right. So keep it going then. There's still 16 games remaining. So is he on the hot seat? I think that's doubtful. I think that is too quickly. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Let me clarify that. I'm not saying, I guess I shouldn't say by this game only, but overall season. Can you see a scenario where at the end of the season he could be fired? That's what I mean by hot seat.
Yes, if Caleb just struggles the whole season and they never seem to get a stride, like where it's like, oh, he had that 3 or 4 games where he, had 12 touchdowns and 2 picks. If he never gets into a rhythm and they're losing, then yes, I could see him being fired. But again, where it's only week 3, I hope that doesn't manifest.
Right.
So I think there's time for him to maintain his position. Obviously, I hope and still think that the Bears could be in a position, I thought maybe to win the division, but fuck, you got Sam Darnold suddenly looking like they're what was the kid they had that took him to the championship game a couple years ago in 2017? They lost to Philly. I cannot think of his fucking name. He was always doing the skull chant. Does anybody know what I'm talking about here?
Kirk Cousins?
No. Oh my God, I can't think of his name right now.
Anyway, the point is
he has a commercial out.
Case Keenum.
I don't know what it is. Yeah,
Case Keenum took them to the NFC Championship game and is kind of, I don't want to say a bum, but he's certainly below average. And now they've got Sam Darnold, who was a top pick, but most people thought was a bum. So if Minnesota's winning games with Darnold, that's scary. If Green Bay can win games with the guy we don't even know what his name is, that's scary. At least Detroit's 1-1. We're 1-1. And right now we're in it.
Dan, you've played yourself right into what I've been wanting to ask you for like the last 3 minutes, and it just all came full circle.
Okay.
Do you think that this team, this defense, is at least they're comparable to the 2006 defense?
Thanks, Shorty. That was my question too.
Again, you got to sustain the success. And even the 06 team, the last month of the season, and again, it's probably because Tommy got hurt against Minnesota in week 13. Mike Brown got hurt in week 6 versus the Cardinals. But the second half of that year, the defense got progressively worse. And that led into the playoffs. He gave up, 24 to Seattle and then New Orleans.
Injuries, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
No,
maybe I'm thinking like 2001.
Injuries aside,
I want this defense to be like the 0-1 team that carried the team to 13 wins. I mean, no one thought Jim Miller or Shane Matthews was the reason we won 13 games. So I want this defense to be the 0-1 defense, not the 06.
For sake of my argument, do you think that this defense on paper and based on what we've seen last year, the end of last year, now at the beginning of this year, is comparable to the 2006 defense? The secondary is better. The defensive line is kind of similar. The linebacking core is not as good, but they're almost better in other areas. You go on the offensive side,
you've got
you can make
Edwards is sort of like your Lance Briggs, and the guy's going to rack up a bunch of tackles. Yes. So I like him. 49's capable of having big games. We saw, 57 flash on Sunday. But we need more from Sweat. I really think we need more from Sweat. And the guy we got from who's wearing 52 that we got from Seattle, he had the big game the first week. He's kind of silenced.
Taylor.
He was silenced in week 2. So we need some consistent pressure to be on par with great Bears defenses. But then it's only week 2 though, or week 3 now.
If you add to that, on paper, our wide receiver core is better from top to bottom than the 2016, in my opinion. I think so. I think you would agree. The running back room is suspect only because of depth. I think that this team might be a little bit better than the running back room as far as depth than the two.
Well, if I could back up on the wide receivers, right now there's reports that Keenan has plantar fasciitis, which in the NBA is like devastating. So if that's true, that might be an injury that lingers the whole season. And we've got DJ Moore. I do think is kind of like on par with Berrien. Maybe he's better than Berrien, but Berrien was a deep threat. But we don't know what Rome is yet. Again, he's had remember in the preseason, doesn't know where he is on the field. And then he drops a touchdown. I'm not saying he's a bad pick, but we don't know yet. We can't assume that Rome is like this great wide receiver. He's got a lot to prove.
But you're playing right into my hand. So my final question is, what I'm about to say is, all that Caleb Williams has to do with this team, comparable to that team.
You're going to say he needs to be Rex.
He needs to be better than Rex Grossman. If he's better than Rex Grossman, all around,
Shorty,
he could take this team to the Super Bowl.
Shorty, what did I tell you last Thursday? You say better than Rex Grossman as if Rex Grossman was this awful, terrible. He turned the ball over at a terrible rate.
Rex
Grossman won multiple Player of the Months. He had good with the bad. That's why they call him Sexy Rexy. Good Rex, bad Rex.
The first 7 games, he was on par to be. Everyone was talking about him being the MVP of the league in the first 7 games, and then he shit the bed. If we get the opposite out of Caleb, and all of a sudden, the final 8-9 games, he's in the running for MVP as a rookie. I'm just saying. All he has to do is be better than.
I will say, I think that while the way that the Bears are, the thing that you can say to compare this defense to 2006 is that it's so much harder to play defense. So for them to be keeping these low scores and generating opportunistic turnovers at key moments, what they just did on the goal line against the Texans, that's very reminiscent of the 06 defense. But Edmonds is not a Hall of Famer like Urlacher. The only player who you could supplant, in my opinion, is TJ Edwards. He's eerily similar to Briggs for my money. But everyone else on the 06 defense could potentially be vastly better, especially like a Tommy Harris. The Bears don't have an all-pro defensive tackle.
Fair enough.
I think the league has changed so much since the '06 that you can't even compare it like that.
That's
anyway.
Exactly. That was just my point, is that this defense, if you put them on the '06 team, the Bears probably don't go to the Super Bowl. But in this NFL, they're playing the same way because it's harder to play defense now.
Well, that's why I was comparing it more. I know it's, again, once more, it's a different league, but I think that the comparison's more fair to 2001's defense versus 2006. But to all the people that hate on Rex, let me just say he was 21-14 as a starter, and we did go to the Super Bowl with him as the starting quarterback. So that's
and he
worth
has
mentioning.
the exact same amount of NFC North championships as Aaron Rodgers. That was Aldo. Aldo soiled his underwear.
No, I went upstairs.
Kyle Orton, would you shut up for a second? Because PJ was about to talk. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Aldo, was that your fart?
No, it was Foster's.
That was a nice fart. Whoever just that was a real
it was
fart.
mine. It was my mic was off, but it was mine. Thanks, Aldo.
Sorry, bro.
If I could say too, what was concerning, I don't want to be like Bill O'Reilly here and bring in a body language expert, but man, did Caleb look like, I don't want to say that he looked like he quit or he was frightened or anything. I'm not overreacting, but the look on his face at the end of the day, that if he were a fighter, he got knocked out.
Yeah, he was.
He got his ass kicked.
Yeah. Well said.
He got his ass kicked, and that's scary to me. You don't want him to lose. Everyone says, "Oh, he's so confident. He believes in himself." We don't want the Bears to take that away from him.
He didn't look dejected or like he was like he was dejected in any way. Like, oh, this is too much for me. He just looked like, God, I got my ass kicked today. Well said, Dan.
He looked like a winner who didn't like losing. I mean, it's Buck standard. I have no issues with the way his body language was. Bro, Daniil Hunter's a AI-generated anime character. If you get hit in the head 3 times by Daniil Hunter, all of us would be knocked out. But after the first hit. So he's tough as nails for even being able to sit like that and have bad body language.
I wasn't saying it was bad. I was saying that he had the look of a guy that it just, took a beating that night. And in one game, that's fine. He comes back, but if you start stacking these games where he's just getting his ass kicked, that's like what Aldo used to always talk about Sam Darnold when he was at the Jets, talking about how he was seeing, pressure that wasn't there, and it was on NFL film saying, I'm seeing ghosts. We don't want that to be Caleb, is my point. We don't want him to get beaten down like David Carr. They brought up David Carr so much last week because he was the last number 1 overall pick to win his first start. And what happened to him with the Texans? He got sacked repeatedly over and over and over and was out of the league in less than 5-6 years. You don't want that to be Caleb. Just get his ass kicked is what I'm saying. You got to protect the kid.
No, very valid point.
What do you guys think about this? I mean, just imagine if that was the line from 23 or 22 that he was playing behind yesterday or Monday or Sunday night. There would have been 10 sacks and he would have been shell shocked.
Or even Jay Cutler's 09 offensive line. Remember, he goes to New York in 2010 and gets sacked 9 times in the first half?
Yeah. Wow.
How many quarterbacks are we going to have where this is the story? The last time the Bears had a really good offensive line was 2006.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We've been talking about that on Thursday nights, Dana Guire, for 2 years about Peach. Just how when does that cycle end too? Because if you can't run the ball. I look at what teams like the Lions did against the was it the Rams? They ran the ball down their throat like 5 or 6 times in overtime. Everybody knew what they were doing, and that the offensive line just took over that game with Monty. They put that game away. I don't think the Bears can do that today. If they had to do that in a position today, I don't think they could.
Well, Foster, that happened against the Rams defense, who then gave up 40 points to the Cardinals. And do you honestly think that the Lions, who have built their team correctly from the inside out? Yeah, me
Aldo,
too.
Aldo,
Me too.
We do not have a caliber of line nowhere near the Lions. We're 25th or 20th in the league.
Let the old guys talk.
So, hey, what old guys, man? I'm shutting up
I
now.
was just gonna say, Aldo, look like you struggled to give yourself an insulin shot for 20 minutes there. Are you okay?
J-Rock sent me some video, and I'm just downloading it so that we can laugh at our offensive line. Pretty funny.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's downloading now. So, no, you guys are making a really good argument here. I love the discussion, the debate. The bottom line is this. I grew up, of course, 85 Bears. And when you look at that team, that Super Bowl team, when Jim McMahon was drafted, there was already a number 1 first-round draft pick. Mike North talked about this the other day. And then that same year, they drafted a lineman in the 2nd round. And then a year later, they devoted their 1st and 2nd round draft picks to offensive linemen. And so they had very early on for their franchise quarterback, they had an offensive line. And then you build out. Then you build wide receivers.
And that line was so good, Aldo, that it was kept intact from like essentially 85 through about 92 through the end of Ditka's run. Yep. The same 5 guys are coming out there. With the exception, at some point, Covert started getting hurt a little bit, but the rest of the guys were there. Mark Bortz actually was there through 94.
Yeah.
So you had the same line every week, barring an injury. And when's the last time we've said that with a Bears team? That's why, and ironically, that's when the Bears were winning all the time.
Right.
Like, even if they weren't going back to the Super Bowl, they were consistently winning the NFC Central when they had an offensive line that was solid every week.
Absolutely.
And the thing I noticed lately is when we do draft a lineman high, except for Wright, what's with the injuries?
Not Caleb, but Chris Williams.
Man.
Remember
Gabe, Carini,
Kyle Long. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't matter. Mark Colombo, go down the line.
Tevin Jenkins, Karana Amagaji. I mean, you drafting these guys kind of high, and they come in with some injury concerns, and it's like, Olin Kreutz says it's best. What point do you invest in your O-line? I mean, at what point? I mean, you expect these guys to play above their draft grade and play out of their mind, and why are we constantly having to do that? Why can't we draft a healthy O-lineman besides, I'll give it again, Darnell Wright, he's a 1. But other than that, we're not drafting anybody high enough who's healthy. They're coming in with some type of injury concern.
Right.
And we expect, our quarterback is going to be great this year, but yet he have a horrible line in front of me, no matter who the quarterback is.
And who's the guy? Who's the center from the Dolphins that was injured last year and became a
Connor McGovern.
Connor Williams. Connor Williams, who signed with the Seattle Seahawks.
I can guarantee you he wouldn't be getting train wrecked like Coleman.
He's still not playing though, sir.
Oh, okay.
I think he actually saw some snaps. Somebody in the chat room said during the Gabriel show that he's been seeing some snaps, so he's close to being ready, I think. But
I'm just going to say, wouldn't that be ahead of schedule? Because they were talking almost half. Right. They were talking half the season for him.
Late October, November, right? But here's the thing, that irritates me as a Bears fan, and I bet it does for you guys too. We get George McCaskey, and I like the fact that he, at least on the surface, stays out of it. But he should know enough about the history of the Bears to have seen what works. And so when Ryan Poles says to him, hey, the way we're going to build the team is by drafting the best player available. I would, if I'm George McCaskey, say, well, the best player available better be a fucking offensive line, because I don't want my investment in a top quarterback to get killed out there. And I've seen enough poor Bears play to know that it stems from not having a good offensive line. So I don't know anything about football, Ryan Poles, but you better get me a good fucking offensive line. That's what I would say to the guy, because it's fucking irritating for us fans to be going through this again. Really is.
And if you look, we've had so much comparisons to the 06 team. That offensive line got built very quickly. They drafted Olin in 98. They brought Fred Miller in. They signed John Tate from Kansas City. They got Roberto Garza from the Falcons. So that starting unit that went to the Super Bowl, you had three signings from other organizations. And
Reuben
overnight,
Brown,
essentially.
brought in too?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Wasn't that Reuben Brown brought in too?
Yeah, Reuben Brown came from Buffalo. So 4 of the 5 were signings from other team, and that unit got good. They started to play well pretty quickly and went to the Super Bowl. So it is plausible that you can rebuild it a lot quicker than it sounds. I know we want to build through the draft, but we got to sign the right guys. If you're paying your center $3 million and Kansas City's paying their center like $70 million, you know which one's the better player. I mean, we're signing these guys that couldn't start on other teams and hoping that they flourish with the Bears, such as Shelton.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you have
it's all guys who've had flashes. Sorry, Peach, go ahead.
To Dan's point, I think when you have a Darnell Wright who's a mauler, you have Devin Jenkins who's a mauler, Nate Davis a mauler, even Braxton Jones is somewhat of a mauler. But then you bring in a finesse center that goes against what you're doing. You got to at least have all maulers or all finesse players. I mean, you can't try to mix and match them. You got to have them all going the same way and then establish your identity, be it a run game, passing game, whatever. But you got to have your line that complements what you're trying to do, to what Dan Aguirre is saying.
For some reason, Nate Davis, again, who am I to make this assessment? I'm just a bum on the couch, but it just feels like, I don't know if it's because, like, again, he lost his mom, or if it's because he got a $10 million deal. That's not that much in the NFL, but to us, $10 million is fuck. You know, it's life altering. Yes. I don't know if he got complacent because he got paid or whatever. It just feels like his fire isn't there anymore. And it's unfair for me to say that. I acknowledge that, but just watching the games, it seems like this guy's going through the motions.
Sad but true. All right, this video is downloaded. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think. Well, I thought it was downloaded.
Where's Tooch, by the way?
Tooch has been arrested by Chicago police on the corner of Madison and Western.
Is the police officer named Foster Covers?
Well, I just left there. They were picking up hookers, so I bailed.
Oh,
watch the left tackle.
Watch the left guard. I mean, the right
Aldo,
guard. These 2 clips are basically our offensive lineman whipping.
He got juked like Thomas Jones. Yeah, that was a great juke by Daniil Hunter, Thomas Jones-esque.
Yeah, but you know the thing that.
Can you show the first clip?
Yes,
please watch the left tackle, Braxton Jones. He gets blown up and it alters Swift to cut up field. Yeah. That's what the issue is on that play specifically.
Well, yeah, and it's the right guard, Nate Davis. It's a fucking mess.
Right, they were on a path to go to a assigned spot. The running back deviated from the path because the left tackle got blown TF up, and that's why they're looking for work, because the running back wasn't able to go where he needs to go.
Yeah, I've given Ryan Poles a lot of praise, but it's clear that he has forgotten the proper way to build a team is to start at the offensive line. You know, if he would have taken that approach, there's a chance. I'm not saying it's definite. I'm definitely not. But there's a chance that Justin Fields is here playing his 4th year and playing at a much higher level than we have seen in his final year with the Bears and his 2 games at the Steelers. Because when you have a great offensive line, your confidence rises, your bravado rises. You're not fucking getting happy feet and running away. It would have helped him. I know it would have helped him. Plus, you know, a good fucking offensive coordinator, but that's another story.
Well, I think the thing is about an offensive lineman and your clips that you've shown with Nick Davis in particular. The number 1 job, look for work. And if you see him coming off the ball, okay, he missed 1 guy. Now he's not blocking no one. Look for work. I mean, that's your job. Look for somebody to hit. And you know what I would tell my players is, if you're an offensive lineman and the play is over and you touch no one, you are wrong. Period. You are wrong.
I love it.
Well said, PJ.
Thank you, J-Rock, for that video. Davis and Jenkins both had defensive players go by them without any contact. Yeah, it was not pretty, and when you look at the film, I didn't study every play of the film, but it just seemed like at random. I would, just take my stroller, and there was always a mistake on the offensive line by at least one of the players, and sometimes two or three. It's like, what?
This is so repetitive. We did this all last year and the year before, Peach. Every week we did the same thing. We nitpicked the offensive line. It was nobody can snap. How come we don't have a right guard while Tevin's at left? It was just everything last year. It's the same thing.
To your point, I think when I listen to Olin Kreutz, and Olin Kreutz says that, how players or offensive linemen, they love to run downhill. They love to be able to, do the running game. And after that scuffle on the sideline, what do? We come back, and because we're long distance, we out of shotgun. Then the next play, we 3rd and 1 or something, a chance to run downhill and smack somebody in the mouth, and we out of shotgun again. It's like, can we not get these offensive linemen in the position to where, look, I'm going to be better than you, mano y mano. I'm going to smack you in the mouth, and we're going to go from there. We don't have that. That's what I said. We lack identity. Are we a finesse team, a running team? We got Swift, who can hardly break a tackle. He's fast, but he's nobody's power running back. He's not. So what are we doing? It just blows my mind when I'm watching it. And agreed, we only lost by 1 possession, but yet I'm looking at this team and I'm saying, we repeating the same mistakes all over again, to where I hope not, but if we have a bad season, the head coach is out of here. We got a new head coach in, and he got this quarterback that he inherited, and we're like, well, he got to bring in his own guy, so a couple of years later, got to get rid of Caleb and bring somebody else in. How many times have we done that in the last 10 years? Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, now Caleb Williams. Let's fix it now. One thing I've learned, this is my last point, I'm going to shut up, but the last point is, before you call yourself trying to bring in something new, why don't you fix what you have? Fix what you have before you call yourself bringing something.
Yeah, PJ.
You are not wrong.
You're the John Madden of Bears podcasters. Just fucking laying it all out there. Bam, boom.
Right now,
you gotta go in there. This guy sucks. Boom, take him out. Put in the next guy. See what he does. You move him off.
Right now, Kyle Orton would have played the closer to the show, and he would have played it for 5 seconds, drop the mic.
Yeah, that'd be a perfect time to do that.
You're not wrong, PJ, at all.
By the way, if I am ever going to make a movie of the Chicago Bears, I am casting Foster Covers as George Halas. What do you think? He sounds like him, right? Good. Tell him to get that player out of there, Foster.
You'd have to get that stain off of his mustache.
39, get your ass out of the game.
That's George Halas. That's the way I envision him.
You haven't even seen it in person.
We should sneak Foster. Let's sneak Foster onto the sideline of a high school or college football game for PJ's grandson and see how long it takes for him to get his ass in trouble.
About 30 seconds. I won't even make it to the sideline. Dude.
Whoa, Aldo! Holy smokes! Jeez.
What are you talking about?
Dude, for anyone not,
I don't want it.
For anyone that can't actually see Foster's mustache, it is piss yellow.
Why is it piss yellow, Foster?
From his nicotine.
What have you been eating?
Chain smokes a pack of cigarettes all day long.
That's
is that the term for eating pussy?
Any of you guys had somebody piss on you? Golden shower?
Yes.
Nothing but your bushes, my friend.
1985.
1985.
Wait, hold on. Can we get an audio clip on that? Shorty, can you tell Aldo that you peed on his bush for the culture?
I peed on your bushes, Aldo.
No.
We've got that on video, Carl. Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. Am I allowed to download from the StreamYard?
Absolutely.
144.
My thing is this, Aldo. when you're out your after dark segment. Well, I don't know if you still have it, now that Dan's married, but when he used to talk his sexual escapades, only thing I would say is Foster will give Dan a run for his money. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to say.
Dude,
it
I'm
sounds like you're
to
trying to set up Foster for a three-way. What's going on here? Oh my god!
I've been working on scrubbing Dan's name off this graphic and make it Foster's sex life segment.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Nice.
He's got the spotlight. Let's hear it, Foster.
Ahead,
for
Foster.
the culture, let us know.
For anybody who knows, man, I know nothing.
I'll do it. 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 Dan, he gets laid more than all of us combined right now. You wouldn't believe it, but he does.
Well, look at the group, man. So all those married. Peach is married. Carol, I don't know what his situation. And Dan, you're Dan. We don't count Dan Aguirre because we know Dan Aguirre, so he doesn't count in this scenario. Dan,
but he's married.
We got it. We got it all covered. Sure, all these guys don't even know what they're dealing with, man.
He's getting laid for all of us, Dan.
I just want to say, I meant to say this earlier, man, about the offensive line, because I was doing my Dennis Green. I was doing my Dennis Green with Aldo at the Bears game when they played the Titans. It was like, I'm like, dude, they are what I thought I saw. They are what I thought I saw originally. Not as good as we thought.
That's right.
Click.
Right. Well, I'm gonna test your knowledge of offensive lineman Foster. Within 30 seconds, name the most Bears offensive lineman that you have seen play. Bears offensive lineman in 30 seconds. Name as many of them as possible. On the screen, it's just going to be a little distraction. Ready, set, go.
What on God's green earth is happening?
Now I had names going, but somehow I got muted. So it was like Covert, Hilgenberg, Sports, like any of it fucking matters. Jim Osborne. I don't know. I can't even think, Carl. Carl, look at I'm calling Aldo Carl because you got this.
What the fuck is going on?
Is there any weather to follow?
I love you, Aldo.
Aldo is so wrong for that.
I love you, Aldo. God,
Who wants to play next? Who wants to play?
Podfather. I'll play next. Let's go.
All right. Shorty,
no.
We're changing the subject. That'd be too easy now. Because I know you were focused on that previous question. You got 40 offensive linemen because you weren't distracted at all. But let's see if this young lady will distract you. Name as many defensive linemen who have played for the Chicago Bears as you can within 30 seconds. And don't let the image on the screen distract you from naming them. Ready, set, go!
Adewale Agabunyele. Shit.
You weren't even looking.
No.
By the way, you were muted
for
some of them.
I was trying to close my eyes.
Diana Guy just sent the private message. Gotta go jerk off.
He tried to close his eyes. If I was there and he said that, dude, I would have pulled him instantly. What the fuck?
All right, PJ, you ready?
I don't know. You just named my star position of defensive line, but okay, all right.
All right, just talk about anything.
TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Jack Sanborn.
Nope. Did you mute him?
James Williams.
I didn't hear anything out of his mouth until the ass went away. Did you mute him?
No, he did it himself. Yeah,
no.
It mutes when you play it. I think you have to manually unmute them.
I want another chance.
I tried, but it wouldn't. It wouldn't unmute.
Yeah. Well, I was able to do mine.
Although these rules are unfair, man. That's feeling very dictatorship, very Trump of you.
You guys got to unmute yourself. Just unmute yourself. Let's do it again.
Just unmute yourself.
So, what, PJ, you're going to name any Bears defensive players from this decade. So, from 2020 on. All right?
Any defensive player?
Now, when the video plays, it's going to mute you, so unmute yourself. There it goes. Ready, set, go.
This decade, we're talking about Jack Sanborn, T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Javon Dexter, Zach Pickens.
Yes.
We got Sweat. We got we have what's with all this heavy breathing? What's up?
That was Foster. He was getting horny.
Oh, they're heavy breathing. Jeez.
Look at Foster.
I'm hearing Carl over there saying something.
Yeah, you did really, really good. What background that you have that would have you so focused?
You did really well, PJ, actually.
I don't like skinny women.
Oh! This one would have been bad for you, right?
You would have had me on that one. You would have. I would have been stuck with that one
for you, but I fucked up the order. All right,
I'm dying.
Johnny Santucci available to play? Yeah, there he is.
Carl, I hope you're taking notes.
No, I'm not.
He's over. His hands are busy. His hands are tied up right now.
Oh my god!
Who's not on the screen?
Who is that guy down there with the glasses on?
Johnny Santucci.
It's a full house tonight.
Tuccini.
What's happening, fellas?
You, brother. Where the fuck did Foster go to?
You're the man of the hour, Tuccini. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Foster went to have his dick bronzed.
He went to go see a couple of toothless women. That's what he went to go.
Foster, what's this?
I saved that
That
for
was
later.
not the right clip to play. I'm just saying that about Foster.
Save that for
man.
later.
I don't see Foster.
said-
He must have gone away.
Foster's getting a lot of pussy, but I mean the nursing homes probably aren't going to let him in much longer.
Look at you. Look at you. Hey, Tooch, you got a Bear State of Affairs for us?
You know I do.
Holy shit, this guy was so fucking busy with personal stuff, professional stuff, and he still manages to come through for us.
He's got the fucking glasses on tonight. He's not fucking around, man.
I'm getting old, but I'm losing my vision, I tell you. It's like, all that masturbation. But I had a big plate of penne alla vodka, and I'm ready to roll.
All right. Well, let's start. This is Bear State of Affairs. For those of you who don't know, this is a Pulitzer Prize winning little short essay that John does every week right here on Bear Their Souls.
Oh, John, make me come. Give it to me real good, John. Make me your slut. Do it now, John. Do it.
All right.
Do it, John.
It's good to be back. Yep. There's State of Affairs 2024 NFL season week 2. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the Bears played their second game of the season. A 19-13 loss to the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. Went about as you'd expect, with the Bears struggling in prime time, numerous breakdowns in offense and defense, as well as a struggling Bears offensive line that gave up 7 sacks and a ridiculous 36 quarterback pressures on 42 pass attempts.
What the hell? Oh my God! No way!
Caleb Williams, man, he was literally running for his life.
He sure was.
The kid took an all-time beating. That may have only been rivaled by the beating that Justin Fields took in his first NFL start.
Well,
Barflies. Remember Fields getting sacked 9 times in Cleveland while Browns fans mistook Dan and Aldo for a gay couple?
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well, here's the game. Here's the game in a nutshell. Like the Titans, the Texans also have a very good defense, the Bears found out. They blitzed Caleb all night long. They blitzed him so much, I bet he was looking over his shoulder when he was boarding his flight home to Chicago.
Ay,
Dios mío.
Yeah, it took away the deep pass, only allowed the Bears underneath passes, and forced the Bears into sacks and mistakes, including 2 INTs. On the other side of the ball, Texas took advantage of the Bears' zone defense. The Texans' offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, is a good play caller, and his wide receivers are all good zone beaters. Oof, yes. Oh, baby. Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud torched the Bears' defense all night. Stroud was able to make plays when he had to. One time escaping the pressure, rolling to his right and hitting Collins on the sideline in what looked like a throwaway. Ooh, that was pretty. And on top of that, the Texans kicker made like 4 50-plus yard field goals. Yeah, with an arsenal like that, the Texans had a lot of confidence they could score at will. Kicker made like 4.
What was that?
You got some fans, Tooch.
That sounded like me. Yeah. But in spite of all that, the Bears still had a chance to win the game at the end, eventually turning the ball over on downs in the final minute and watching the Texans take a knee to run out the clock. Bottom line, the Texans made plays when they had to and did what it took to win the game. To be honest, Bears fans probably don't know how to feel after Sunday night. The Bears' offensive line has serious issues. Caleb Williams may be running for his life all season, unfortunately finding himself in the same situation that the Bears' previous franchise quarterback also found himself in. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Yep.
Yeah,
there
look
they
at that.
are.
I saw that. I saw that. I cringed when I saw that.
Oh, man. Looks like deja vu.
I'm crying.
Speaking of previous Bears franchise quarterbacks, the much maligned Justin Fields finds himself 2-0 and the new starter in Pittsburgh. Yep, there he is. Top passer ratings through week 2.
God, I miss him.
That can't be true. Somebody said he has a 41.7 to pass.
I was about to say, was that PJ making all that noise?
The Steelers, unlike the Bears, spent their first 2 draft picks on top-end offensive line talent, drafting the Barkeepers guy Troy Fautano in the first round and Barrelissimo's guy Zach Frazier in the second round to shore up their front line. Yes, Bears fans likely have questions. Like, how does a former offensive lineman like GM Ryan Poles pay so little attention to the offensive line?
He's a fucking idiot.
That's right, mama. Yes, he's thrown some money at it in free agency, but nothing for top-line talent. Yes, he's paid the offensive line some attention in the draft, but aside from right tackle Darnell Wright last year and left tackle Braxton Jones 2 years ago, no one's really made an impact on the offensive line. And it's really the interior of the offensive line that has struggled this season. In free agency, Poles assigned journeymen like Nate Davis, Lucas Patrick, Ryan Bates, Coleman Shelton, Bill Murray, and Matt Pryor. And yes, Poles is the architect. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Yes, Poles is the architect of the now famous Caleb Williams trade as well. He's been lauded for surrounding his rookie franchise quarterback with talent at the skill positions. Woo! And all of that talent and skill positions, shining new wide receivers, it means nothing when the offensive line can't run block or pass block.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Yes. It seems really hard to fathom that after 2 games, Bears fans are seeing their panic meter nearly rising up to the fire Matt Eberflus level. In fact, I started to wonder if it wasn't a mistake to retain Eberflus and then subsequently draft Caleb Williams because of the damn Bears cycle. Hard Knocks had us fooled, maybe. We were shown a new Coach Flus with a stylish new look and slick haircut. After the Texans game, with questionable calls, questionable clock management, questionable challenges, and a subpar game plan all led to a Bears loss, it looks like Coach Flus is all haircut. That went over better than I thought, Aldo.
It was good. It was good.
Vaginal farts are wonderful things.
But Bears fans, yep, they're not easily fooled. No, sir. Same old coach, same old Bears. Neither Ryan Poles nor Matt Eberflus played quarterback. Why should we expect them to develop one? No, sir. Bears fans are not easily fooled. They know that a former Bear who did play quarterback and was available for the Bears to hire this past offseason is now 2-0 as head coach of the Chargers behind a rebuilt offensive line and a power running game. Yeah, maybe it was a mistake to retain this current Bears regime. The fact that Jim Harbaugh and Justin Fields are both 2-0 doesn't make the Bears' offseason decisions look any better. We've seen this movie before. We know the complaint. The Bears can't develop a quarterback. As far as we could tell, the Bears' strategy every time they rebuild seems to be build an elite defense, hire the worst coach, hire the worst play caller imaginable, neglect the offensive line, and then repeat the process. Bearer of bad news, dude. Yeah. 2 weeks into the 2024 season, I know it's early, but Ryan Poles' meticulous plan to develop his franchise quarterback seems to have failed because the area he knows best, the offensive line, is currently a hazard to rookie quarterbacks. Bears fans are too smart for this kind of negligence, Ryan Poles. They know that every quarterback, rookies and veterans alike, cannot perform without a good offensive line. Doesn't matter who you have at quarterback. A successful offense will always be done in by a bad offensive line. Bears fans, they're too smart for this charade. They know better. Bears fans know that this is exactly the generations-long recipe the Bears have cooked up for ruining quarterbacks. They fail to provide quality pass blockers. They fail to hire coaches who can effectively scheme or play call around that problem. They fail to hire coaches who know how to develop the most important position in sports, the quarterback. Now, us Bears fans are smart enough to be seriously worried about the future and health of Caleb Williams. He's been pressured on 36.3% of his dropbacks. He's been sacked the most in the NFL so far this season. In the past 2 games, the Bears have the largest pressure percentage in the league by 10% to the second most pressured team. Good news is Caleb's getting rid of the ball faster than anyone in the NFL, but man, he's got no other choice, Aldo.
He doesn't.
He's got to get rid of it or he's going to get killed. Yeah, does Caleb Williams have to play better? Yes. But the kid should not be facing the same problems that Justin Fields dealt with while in Chicago. A bad offensive line, bad play calling, and bad coaching. And Coach Flus should not escape any blame for the offensive line and offensive play calling. After all, he fired almost every one of his offensive coaches, but kept the offensive line coach, his longtime friend Chris Simo Morgan. He also hired Shane Waldron. The guy was literally shaking from adrenaline during the whole Texans game. Yeah, Bears fans are too smart to see right through this. They know the Bears are fortunate enough to be 1-1. They know that next week the Bears start a stretch of very winnable games at home against the Colts. And they know the Bears better get their act together before another season ends in disaster. And that's Bears State of Affairs.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
The Colts game, Lucas Oil, though.
I hope that's not your wife that made those sounds, Dan.
The Colts game's a road game.
Colts game is it in Lucas Stadium? Yeah.
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 Dan Aguirre providing fact checking. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be.
I'm just kidding. Don't apologize.
Dan remembers well that Justin Fields' debut in Cleveland.
Oh, Aldo and I were there.
Yep.
Tooch, can I ask you? Do you think that the Bears fans are too smart, or too jaded?
Oh no, Bears fans are not fooled by any of this.
Listen. There's a handful of us that are smart, but the rest of us are idiots. We're listening to the radio. We're listening to all the idiots like the head talkers just spew diarrhea into our heads all day on the radio from our way to work and back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you, like, Do you think it's really too smart, or if they're too jaded because of what they've been, if nobody had the radio, right? If you just watched the TV and you sat there and made up your own mind about the game and never had all 22, never had the radio, never had all the media, never had all the podcasts, and just lived your life until the next game, do you think that we're all too smart, or do you think that we're too jaded by our history?
Probably a little of both. But I mean, if you're a longtime Bears fans, you're getting sick of the same old movie. I think Aldo probably agree with me on that. The script is looking familiar.
Yeah, I mean, every year I get full of hope, because that's the only way to go into a season.
Yeah,
if I'm going to watch the season, I want hope, right? I'm not going to fucking watch a train wreck. I'd rather fucking watch porn.
That's why I wore the shirt tonight.
Yeah, exactly. What's the shirt say?
It says Obama shirt.
It says hope.
Oh, look at that. Man, you got nice tits. What the hell?
Oh my God! No way!
Yeah,
what the hell?
Whoops! Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's kind of like pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition.
Yeah, I mean, human beings are programmed to recognize patterns. The pattern is the Bears don't know how to develop a quarterback. They put the cart before the horse, whatever you want to call it, the cycle. But that's kind of the point of the essay tonight.
But don't you think that because of our constant observation over all these years, and we've always been right about what we saw with our own eyes, right? But now we get to a point where we actually have a real, legitimate quarterback that we can actually believe in. Are you afraid of, like I am, that this media base and fan base are going to collectively they're going to ruin him? Like, for me, if I was him, I would totally tune out of all of this shit. Watch nothing. Play my game.
Probably going to do. Yep.
Do what I got to do.
That fear's in the back of your head, but I'm less worried about that than I am about this offensive line getting the kid killed. I'll tell you. I blame a lot of this on the preseason and sort of the quality of the NFL product with the way the preseason is handled right now. Nobody plays. The stars don't play. So the first couple games, you get a lot of inferior product. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but the NFL wants to go to 18 games. Look, if we're going to get 2 weeks of inferior product anyways, might as well just go to one preseason game and 18 games a season and then just roll with an extra game and whatever two bye weeks and increased revenue for the league.
Maybe like 2 or 3 weeks of combined practices with another team, right?
Rather than just whatever they want to do in the time allotted to them by the collective bargaining agreement. It's fine with me. I don't care. I mean, nobody really cares about the preseason anyways. I mean, I don't think viewers are going to miss much,
Well, the owners miss out on that concession, so they're not trying to give up on theirs.
I can't see anymore, Steve.
Well, I mean, I think
my 50th year as a Bears fan.
Oh, trust me, Tooch, I agree with a lot with what you're saying. I just think, we're just doing the same thing over and over, and they're not trying to solve. Like I said, they're not trying to solve the problem. I mean, they're when they say, okay, you brought in some weapons, which I give Poles credit for, brought in weapons, but like Steve Smith said, I don't care how many weapons you got. If you can't protect, you can never get the ball to the weapons. So you got to be able to protect. And I think for whatever reason, I don't know if Poles looking at offensive linemen like, oh, he's better than I was, so I can draft him. As opposed to, well, let me get the best. I just want to get somebody who's better than I was.
They were so happy to get an offensive lineman. They could have traded 9 and gotten a wide receiver. I mean, so happy. They were so excited to get Rome Odunze at 9, and I like Rome. I think he'll be a good player. But I would have traded out at 9 and picked up Zach Frazier like the Steelers did for center.
Well, you know what I would have done. I would have traded the number 1 overall pick and got a haul and get all of the wide receivers and linemen. But
go for a quarterback next year.
Caesar is asking the question that he knows this is way too early to speculate on this, but if Eberflus is canned at the end of the year, what head coach would you want? It would have to be an OC, right? To help Caleb. Yeah, I think the guy that was calling plays against us on Sunday night, Bobby Slowick.
Bobby Slowick would be awesome.
His dad was defensive coordinator for the Bears. Long
sure
time
was.
back. I think it was under Geron.
Right.
But, look, I made this point during Bears State of Affairs that the thought had crossed my mind that why the hell do we retain Eberflus to develop a franchise quarterback? You know, it's John Fox, whole placeholder. Jim Harbaugh was there for the taking. He's a guy, he played quarterback in the NFL, and he played for the freaking Bears.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's like it was right, the solution was right there in our face. And a lot of people don't like Harbaugh for whatever reason. He's a nutcase.
Right.
I forgot what Greg Gabriel called him, like poster child for ADD or something, something like that. But I mean, at least if you look at what Harbaugh's doing in Los Angeles with the Chargers, man, he built a great offensive line. He's just pounding it like he did at Michigan. Pounding the run game. Herbert doesn't have to do as much.
I'm telling you.
You know,
I look at, and I don't want to over talk Dan Acquire, so please forgive me, but the last three coaches, we had Fox last year there. We brought in Mitch for him. Next year, he was out of there. Next comes Nagy. He comes in.
Yep.
Last year there, we draft Fields. Then he's out of there.
Nagy's gone.
Now,
1 year with Nagy's gone.
So my question is Eberflus going to be gone? Then we have to start this whole train all over again? At some point, we have to fix the problem before we bring in a new guy and think he's going to be the savior. Stop.
Yeah, we should have rebooted at the coach as well.
BJ, it sounded to me like you were going to call Nagy the N-word.
No.
I'm just kidding.
It's hard for me to see. I always want to call him Nagy.
Yeah.
So I remember his name is Nagy, so that's why I got to try to remember.
It is Nagy? I've called him Nagy since he arrived.
It's Nagy. I guess he said he pronounces his name Nagy.
It's Nagy. He said in an interview it's Nagy.
Right. It's Nagy. So that's why because I'm like you. I want to say Nagy, but it's Nagy.
I didn't know that.
It's the Bears Chicago Midwestern accent that allows us to pronounce it as Nagy.
I see. Yeah. Bearsky Film is saying, PJ, you sound like me, a racist. No, I'm just kidding, Bearsky. I'm just kidding. Dan Aguirre, are you there?
Yes, sir.
What have you been doing other than looking at them?
Would Dan have rebooted at coach too?
I don't know. Harbaugh, if you'd have told me that, if you could, but it was clear that McCaskey didn't like him from his playing days and views Harbaugh as someone that's caustic, and he doesn't like that. So they weren't interested in Jim Harbaugh. So if you're not going to bring in our dream coach, then I'm good with staying pat with Eberflus and trying to win. And again, it's only been 2 games, so let's not write his.
Yeah.
The
only 2 games qualifier I wholeheartedly accept, because last year they turned stuff around as well. The defense got better, the offense got better, but at this point, it sure looks like deja vu. I mean, for God's sakes, actually, your point begs the question: is how much influence does George McCaskey still have if he's not, if he's going to shoot down the Jim Harbaugh suggestion?
Well, it does seem like our general manager really likes Eberflus. I think that's valid. And perhaps, again, he was brought in 22 when they clearly were trying to tank. And so, and he did rebound late in 23. So I could write a script that says he is warranted another shot, and that shot being 2023. And as for right now, I'm rooting for him because I want the Bears to win. And like PJ so eloquently pointed out, all the times that's happened when a quarterback, even going back to Wani, Jim Harbaugh was from Ditka, and he was forced on Wani, which is when Bob Slowick was the D coordinator, was under Wani, not to be a dick or anything. But
the next 4 games of the Bears are entirely winnable. So it's entirely possible that the Bears are 5-1 by week 7.
One game at a time. One game at a time. We have to win Sunday in Indianapolis, a big game to get things moving in the right direction. But again, it's a road game. They're 0-2. You don't want the Bears to somehow take them lightly.
Yeah, but Tucci has a point that has a lot of validity to it. We should be good enough to beat a Colts defense that allowed 250 rushing yards and has a quarterback who this defense could potentially shut out. That is a fact. Now, the Colts may win. I wouldn't be shocked by it, but the Bears are definitely a better team. The Rams, playing the Rams in Chicago with
they got more players injured than they do healthy.
Yeah, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and so forth. That is
their
a
offensive
team ready
line is
to lose
devastated.
on the road. Week 5, Carolina Panthers. You got Andy Dalton will be playing at quarterback.
Game.
Yeah, that probably will mean the Panthers will win. You're right, but those 4 games there before the bye are definitely winnable. So it's a good point.
Yeah, Poles. He really scorched the Panthers and salted the ground when he left with that trade. It's like now they don't even have the quarterback they wanted anymore. Yeah. Man. Talk about devastation.
Oh, did you guys see that in the chat? J-Rock says that DeForest Buckner went on IR.
Ooh, so he's definitely out.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I wish that wasn't the case, but I'm glad that he's missing Sunday. But to miss 4 or 5 games, that's too bad.
Yeah, I mean they have a good defense, but without DeForest Buckner, they're definitely not as good.
By the way, I am really disappointed, particularly in Dan Aguirre, that he didn't say anything about my hat. That is a bad fucking hat. I bought it today.
I'm disappointed in you too, Dan.
I like the hat, but
what?
But I'm tired of crutching on 85, man.
Me too.
I'm not crutching on
it. Over 85, man. It's time to start a new era.
Not me. You know what? Anytime there's anything terrible in my life, I cuddle up with my dick.
1985, like
anything 1985. I cuddle up. I kiss it.
It's all we have, Aguirre. It's all we have.
When I saw this hat, I told the guy at the store, I don't care how much it costs. I want that fucking hat.
Shut up.
$185. You're like done. By the way, Aldo, speaking of that, can we play that video that I put up for you?
Yeah. Oh, this is.
So this is Aldo at the game after the game.
Oh, you shot video of that?
Walking up to a family selling candy bars. Okay. This lovely man, Mr. Podfather Aldo Gandia, buys the whole fucking box.
Aldo Gandia, doing God's will.
And he hands out the candy bars to all of us. We're like, what am I going to do with this? Like, I'm not eating candy bars for the next week.
I got a copyright for the damn song in the background.
Look at him. I'll take all of them.
I did I admit that I did overpay.
You're such a sweetheart. My point is, you're such a sweetheart. Like, I'll let you finish, but you're such a sweetheart, Aldo. It's why you are who you are. It's why you're the Podfather. Go ahead and finish.
I was gonna say
that kid loved it.
I was hoping the kid came with the candy bars, for $100. Come on. No, it's always nice helping people.
Was that world's finest chocolate?
I don't know. I didn't.
It was. $1 at Jewel.
Yeah.
He bought them for $5 a piece just to support that family.
God bless.
And that just goes to show what a great guy you are, Aldo.
Thank you, brother.
And
hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. I truly appreciate the love. But speaking of love, we did promise our audience that we would provide some sex tips today. And so I know Dan Aguirre's got like 10 minutes. And so I thought, Kyle Orton was the first one to put in the chat room, I really need some sex tips. So, I thought that with all of the fucking Mr. Shorty, Tooch, PJ, Dan Aguirre has done, that you guys could share some sex tips, for men, for women, And I know I scoured the internet looking for examples, some tips, and so forth. Here's one lady with an example for women.
You need to start giving your man blowjob. If you're not doing that, then you're doing so much injustice.
I really agree with that.
Was that PJ's wife?
One of his many conquests. Well, and then she goes on.
Be that prostitute in the bedroom.
Be a prostitute in the bedroom, right? That's a great idea for all wives. Go into the bedroom and charge your husband for sex. No, I'm just kidding. Dan, does that ring a bell with you?
Is it okay to be the pimp in there too?
Backhand is legal, Tooch. Backhand is legal.
You can still use a switch in this state.
Dan, any tips?
What specifically are you asking me to tip? I mean,
Christ,
he asked you to describe your tip to him.
Dan, no, it's all right. If you just had a tip off the top of your head, I don't want to get too specific here.
The biggest tip that I would give any guy is to don't be a selfish lover.
Yeah,
you want to make the woman come back. You want to give her a reason to sleep with you again, and how you do that, you make her come. So don't be a selfish lover. That's my best tip for anybody.
At the same time, I would add to that. At the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That one or before, one after, at the same time, Dan, you got it all. You've got it all figured out, dude.
Yeah, it's important to for the woman, just like Dan said, you got to give to the woman. You gotta, Dan told me once that he does the alphabet when he's doing cunnilingus. He goes through every letter. Not only
Sam Kinison?
Yeah, that is from Sam Kinison. But I was going to expound on it. Not only does he do the alphabet, the United States alphabet, he does the Chinese language. I mean, how many? You're talking about 156 characters there, I think.
Yeah, Yao Ming taught me Mandarin. I used it in the bedroom.
By the way, ladies,
that's your gag reflex.
So be careful. Be careful when you put that thing in there. By the way, Kyle Orton, since you were so interested in sex advice, I found one specifically for you.
And I know I'm probably not the first person to tell you that porn is really bad for your brain.
That's not what Foster told me. I may have to fight Foster on that one. Foster told me it's used for training, so I don't know who's lying to me. This is getting really confusing really fast.
Interesting. Foster promoting pornography.
Yep. He's one of my biggest fans.
And I could be a minor for all you guys know, so I'm not.
This is why I love you guys, man. Carl, PJ, just, man, I see you laughing. I just start dying laughing. The responses from you, Carl, Foster, I wish you were still here. You guys, I love you guys, man. You guys.
Ironic how Foster left after Aldo played those videos and the moaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
And thank you.
I noticed that too.
Aldo, Dan, Tuccini for having us on tonight. I love you guys just as much. You guys are
leaving?
so awesome, man. No,
are you leaving?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I love you guys, man.
Sounds like he's wrapping up the show.
You guys
All right,
crack
everybody.
me up, man.
Thanks for coming.
Run the outro.
Foster's $5 worth of internet ran out. That's why he's gone.
He forgot to mail in the bill. It's sitting on his.
He's pay as you go these days for like he's at the motel.
Pay for unlimited porn data.
Wait,
a hefty bill.
Pull up that Stephen Me comment. The last one. Shorty is so gay.
Shorty is so gay. Where are you, Stephen?
The last one.
Right there. It's right there. Shorty is so gay.
So
do you think I'm married to a man?
Would there be anything wrong with that?
You are gay.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm not. I can promise you, I'm not married to a man.
Prove it. Have your wife come out from behind the stage right now.
My wife fucking produced the show. Go back and watch the first 20 episodes.
Paid actor. Cut the VOD.
Totally sounds like your wife, Dan. I'm sorry, but is that her? She recorded that,
Whoa,
didn't she?
Eiffel Tower?
I don't mean that as an insult. It sounds like she recorded that as a part of the show because she's just as into this shit as you are.
You're saying Mrs. Dan Aguirre recorded that?
I'm asking because it sounds like it could be her because she's, based on all the previous episodes, she seems like she would do that. That's all.
She would do that, but that's definitely not her.
That's not her? Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't mean to insult her.
Can you prove that?
Does Danny have to work tonight?
I do.
Before you get out of here, Danny, I got a couple things. I was like, I don't want to be like completely negative, but we got to show a little. Caleb did get better from game 1 to game 2, in spite of being like almost killed. That's improvement, right?
I agree.
Got a big cuz, man.
Yeah, look at that. Interviewed twice by the Barfly Tailgate Show, Andrew Billings as a pass rusher through the first 2 games.
So I couldn't find
KB's cousin.
I had another graphic too. Gervon Dexter through 2 games, 5 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for losses, 2 sacks. Last year had 2.5 sacks all year, so that's improvement. Take Gervon Dexter any day these days, man. Playing at a high level. Then we had Tevin Jenkins, gave a little talk to the media a little bit. Had some, what was this on his jacket? I wanted to send him to a dry cleaner's.
Shit. What is that?
It's like grease all over his jacket. I'm like, did he come from the snack bar? I don't know.
Was that after Sunday's game?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
I like a haircut.
He had some chicken fingers.
Yeah,
he
nice.
didn't have any napkins, so he just uses hoodie.
That's Shorty after the Taco Bell run he's been on.
Can I ask Dan Aguirre before he leaves?
I'm about to go on again.
What does he think of the?
I'll be right there.
This week's game.
I think it's a very important game. I mean, they're all important, and I guess if you'd want to schedule a loss, you'd want it to be against the AFC with playoff implications and such, being stronger with your division and conference. But still, to set a tone, 2-1 is so much better than 1-2. And I think if you're going to want to beat the Rams with Stafford coming in, and I just think you need some fluidity. You need a rhythm, a streak. You get one, then maybe you get 2, and then you get into the flow of winning. As the cliche goes, learning how to win. I worry if they go into that game 1-2, they could lose to the Rams. So I think this one is very important. I'm uptight and pensive about it and worried. I'm going to be the whole game. So
what's your
prediction? I think it really, really matters.
What's your prediction?
I mean, I never predict the Bears to lose. I'm a dummy. So
me either.
Please predict them to lose, please.
No, I'm not going to pick them to lose because then I'll blame myself if they lose.
Go to the game, Dan. Go to the game. We'll win it.
That's right.
I will be.
The odds are 90% that we will win if you go to the game.
Well, I won't be in Indianapolis Sunday, so. But I got to be at work, so I have to leave. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, Danny.
Don't apologize, brother. We'll get even.
We could be 5-1 heading into the buys.
That's getting ahead of ourselves.
I know.
Way ahead of ourselves.
I know. But just hear me out for a second.
I can't. I have to leave.
All right, but I'll tell you tomorrow.
Take it easy, Mr. Aguirre.
I'll go tomorrow.
Love you, Dan.
Take care. Hey, Dan, before you leave. Oh, he left.
Damn. Well, look, the Colts are entirely beatable. The Rams are so banged up, We could easily beat them. The Panthers are probably the worst team in the NFL. And then we'll play the Jaguars in London. Talk about coaches on hot seats. How long before Doug Peterson is booted? I mean, they can't seem to put it all together. They faded down the stretch. They started super strong last year, and then ended up missing the playoffs. And this year they started slow. They started the exact opposite. They picked up right where they left off last season. I can't see if it keeps up, Doug Peterson surviving through the next year. But I know it's a game in London. Anything can happen. overseas and stuff. But 4-2, 5-1 at the bye would not be, that would be give the Bears a real shot in the arm, boost of confidence.
I just think the Bears have to change their approach. I mean, I really think they have to take the ball out of Caleb's hand. They have to sit up and say, hey, man, we don't want you throwing the ball over 25 times. We want to sit up there and run the ball 40 times. And you linemen start pushing downhill. And if you can't push downhill, man, let's get you out of here and get somebody else in there who can. Because to me, I don't think Caleb's experienced enough right now to be in empty sets and expecting him to drop back 45 times a game.
Yep. And don't forget, man, it was hot and humid down there Sunday night. It looked like, the offensive line definitely lost some steam in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And the scheme asked them to get out in space, sprint out, get out there in the zone blocking scheme. They're doing a lot of running, man. Like I said, these guys aren't playing in preseason. It could be a conditioning thing. I don't know. But how about just simplifying a little bit and getting out and just focusing on the run game and take some pressure off the young quarterback.
Yeah, hit the guy block the guy in front of you. Let's start there.
When he had time to throw, Caleb was accurate. Was able to just sit back and pick apart the defense.
But seemed like on his longer throws, he was overthrowing them. Seemed like he's done that for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, week one, he was definitely nervous.
Yeah.
I would have been too, man. It's like public speaking.
I'm not faulting the kid. I just, I understand the fact that he's a rookie. And my whole thing is, man, instead of putting him on that spotlight, let's sit up there and make it easier for him. Hand the ball off.
And we won the game the first week. First of all, he's a number 1 overall pick. He's the savior of the franchise. It's his first NFL game.
He's going to get blitzed all game, every game of the season, all day long.
I would have been wearing adult diapers if I was him in that first game.
Yeah.
Not that I don't wear them now, Aldo and I, but
are you down to what do they call it? Where you plug it into your dick so you can just pee into a bag? What is that?
Yeah, catheter.
Catheter.
I don't know, but
not yet.
Jeez.
I'll do it.
But yeah, I just hope they can. Because that reach block that on that film that Aldo showed where you got your center trying to get up to the linebacker and he can't quite make it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stop trying to do that and just block the guy in front of you and go from there.
Yeah, it's this first play here. The second series, first half.
Yeah, this one.
Oh my goodness. It's just the left tackle, first of all. Braxton Jones.
I agree.
But too light in the pants.
Yeah, he really is. This is his third year now. He should be better than this.
He can't
anchor. Yeah. Can't do it.
First of all, he's been injured for how long? He probably has lost some time in the weight room.
But who's the opponent on that play?
Hold on a second. Go back.
Anderson Jr. Okay.
Rewind that. He took his guy out. It was the next guy that wasn't his problem. It was so watch him here. He took out his guy. He put him to the ground. It was the next guy that came along.
He put him to the
ground.
He's
done. He's done with him. At this point, number 4 is running to his left. Keep going.
The thing is that Braxton, because he doesn't hold the block, it forces Swift.
Swift is supposed to cut that inside.
Yeah,
but context matters. That's a good opponent. I don't want to make excuses for the player, but
Will Anderson's a stud.
I understand that, but the issue is that Will Anderson's forte is speed, his quickness. Braxton Jones, we have been told, is a tremendously athletic left tackle. Given that, this should not happen. Because he's just being overpowered by a speed rusher.
Yeah.
But that was
why is
number
the tight end on the
fault.
other side?
70 was that Kevin Jenkins' fault?
You're running left, they run to the weak side.
I know. Right. It doesn't make any sense, and that's a good player who's in a perfect position. I would like to see Mercedes Lewis on the other side and take out DeAndre Carter.
Yep.
Yeah, put Mercedes Lewis to the left of the tackle and take out DeAndre Carter. It just doesn't make sense. I think the play calling is not helping anything.
And it's surprising because Waldron used to run 2 tight end sets like that, one on either side. You know, well, there is no weak side then. You know, you got 2 strong sides. But I mean, if you ask me, that Braxton's supposed to push his man farther out, and Swift is supposed to cut inside, tackle, and guard.
Well, that makes a lot more sense, Tooch.
Jones didn't get his man out, push his man out far enough. Look.
Well, I think what the problem is, that's normally a play where you want to down block. You see how Tevin's turning his man back to the inside?
He got beat. Tevin got beat.
Okay,
yes, he did.
So
But
what I'm trying
65 had on the mic. He didn't do it.
Tevin had a little trouble with Edwards. Is that Mario Edwards over there?
But I think what Tooch is trying to say on that exact play is that Tevin Jenkins doesn't take that player out to allow Swift to cut up field, and essentially Shelton, the center, is sealing the left so that he can run past him. He's not supposed to drive him on his butt.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I'll tell you, so it brings to question now Chris Morgan. And, I talked to Greg, and Greg has a lot of respect for Morgan, and he's got a great reputation and so forth. But there's something wrong. You can't point at any offensive lineman during the Morgan tenure that has improved noticeably over his tenure. And so you could say Tevin Jenkins, but there seems to be enough evidence now to be opining. And I know Carl doesn't agree with this, but to opine that the move from right guard to left guard has retarded Tevin Jenkins' progress.
Good use of that word. That's the proper use of that word.
Well
Who was
said.
the offensive line coach before Chris Morgan?
Harry
Heaston.
Because I viewed him in a higher light, and I feel like he did a better job. But isn't it just asinine to bring in essentially a new offensive head coach? That's how they treated this hire, right? It was essentially a head coaching hire for the offense. It's asinine to not let him just bring in the whole new staff. What did Chris Morgan show you? I totally agree. I don't think that Chris Morgan has shown you anything to deserve that.
He's old friends with Eberflus.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what it is, and that's something I strongly dislike.
We ran the ball better when Jenkins and Wright were on the right side of the line because they're 2 big maulers. So, I mean, you're making accommodations for Nate Davis. Now today news broke that he's not practicing, and everyone's pissed off because he doesn't practice.
Oh my God!
What a surprise!
Yeah, I think what the problem is the fact that somebody in the chat said it earlier. I don't know how well Morgan and Waldron work together, because that's an issue, because they actually coming from different type of schemes.
Yep.
Morgan comes from I think he was with Atlanta, and then he was with Pittsburgh. Neither of them ran that Kyle Shanahan system. Neither one. So he don't come from that system at all. Yeah. So now you got Waldron, who does. So it's kind of hard to marry that system. Then second of all, with what you have with Braxton Jones is he's top heavy. His legs are kind of small. He's top heavy.
Yep.
So when you're top heavy like that, somebody get underneath your pads, it's easy to push you back. Yes. So I think, again, it goes back to how we want this team to be ran. Do we want that zone thing to where we need these guys who can move, or we want to sit up there and just be able to push them back? It's a lot of different things going on there that we need to figure out, or they need to figure out how we want to do this thing in front of us. Because we got a guy lined up in front of us. Instead of blocking a guy in front of you, we asking you to go somewhere else. And some of them can do it, some of them can't. And to my last point, where the center is trying to get up to the linebacker on that play that you showed, he can't get there. And the play is designed for him to get on the outside of the tackle. So Braxton was supposed to get the guy turned. He was supposed to get this guy turned to the inside, and he couldn't turn him inside. Now, Tevin actually turned this guy the right way. Tevin got his guy turned the right way. Braxton couldn't get his guy turned because he's lined up too far away from him. So you're asking him to do a play to get him to try to turn somebody when the guy's literally 3 men over from him.
But even
to me, it feels like they should be running through the left tackle and the left guard.
You run in that gap, he's lined up wide 9.
Even if Braxton Jones gets his guy turned the right way on this play, it's not going to matter because the center didn't pick up that mic.
No, it's because Tevin Jenkins allowed the pressure to have the gap closed. Their asses are touching.
Yeah, that's what. When that guy's wide 9 like that, that is. Am I wrong? That looks like wide 9 to me.
It is a wide 9.
Yeah, when that guy's that far out, you run inside.
Exactly. Yeah, the alignment dictates that, in my opinion. Yep. And Tevin Jenkins is just getting overpowered. Yeah. And if that's by Mario Edwards, I'm not surprised because he's a beast.
That's a Khalil Herbert run right there.
Yep.
Yeah, but here you got if he could cut this in between the left tackle and the left guard, there's no space because Braxton is bullied back by Will
Tevin
Anderson.
Jenkins is getting back into it.
Yeah, a bit, yeah, but
well said, gentlemen. You're right. You're all right.
Everybody's right. Absolutely. That's why.
Why the fuck do we run out of shotgun? It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yep.
Get his ass under center. Get Mercedes Lewis, who, by the way, Mercedes Lewis, I wanted to make this point earlier, they gave him a chance. And on his one chance, a 40-year-old couldn't understand the offense and had a false start. You don't need your veteran having a false start. So he's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination either.
I forget how many false starts we had.
You could take me off the full screen there, buddy. I'm off the soapbox.
I'm very uncomfortable.
Pride of Altoona High School.
Zach is asking me, who were the podcasters you had in the bar room a few years ago that were getting drunk? The host
Jose Cotto.
The host kept yelling at a guy named Lippy.
Around Christmas.
I don't know what you're talking about.
A few years back would have been like we could have been on the show at that time.
I know Zach's not talking about.
Is this the piss? Is this when Dan pissed in Aldo's bush?
No.
This
is a few years back, so this had to be like the 100 proof time. I don't know.
That was last year, right? Aldo, Christmas party.
Oh yeah, that was last year, right? I've never gotten drunk while doing this show. I know that.
He's like,
check out this gift I got for my birthday.
What is that?
Donaldo tequila.
All right.
Wow, Aldi.
Nice.
Was that purchased at Aldi?
No.
Wow.
That's not funny. Here, hold on.
I think it is.
If I found that, I would definitely buy that too. For
sometimes we're funny, sometimes we suck.
Wow.
There was one show Aldo had like a voice modulator that made everyone sound like they were drunk.
Yes.
That was hilarious, man.
Yeah, maybe that's what you're referring to, Zach. What happened is
Like Trey busy. Maybe Lippy is busy.
I would love to see PJ drunk off of his ass. Just for the record, I would love to see that.
It never happened in this lifetime.
Carl.
It's Trey.
We can make it happen. Let's make it happen. Dan's in Chicago.
It'll never happen. It'll never
Let's
happen.
make it happen.
It will never happen in this lifetime nor the next.
Why not? Scared? Are you scared?
No, I'm smart enough not to take alcohol.
PJ is too cool for that shit.
I'm just being a dickhead, man.
I love it. All right, guys, let's close the show by talking a little pop culture. Have you seen anything on TV or at the movies or in a porn theater that you'd like to share with our audience? Either tell them to stay away from this because it was terrible, or tell them, it was pretty cool.
I was at a porn theater right down the road here called Sasha Girls in West Chicago. You ever see that?
No, I've never seen that.
It's a live, actually live porn on the stage.
Really? That actually?
What the fuck?
No
I'm
way.
just kidding. I'm just making shit up.
I was going to say, what kind of money laundering is going on at your job?
We're slowly sliding a finger in, usually the index finger or the middle finger, whichever feels good for you.
That would be cool, though,
Is
right?
that how you teach your prostate massages?
Like live stage porn in front of like 1,200 people? Wouldn't that be cool?
Well,
I'm glad Foster isn't here. I'm very glad Foster is not here right
No,
now.
I mean,
I wish I wasn't.
to answer your question, Aldo, I think I haven't watched the second season yet, but I don't know if you guys watched The Old Man starring Jeff Bridges.
I saw season 1. That was good.
I have not. No.
Oh,
it was good.
Tell him, Tooch. Tell him.
It's great. Yeah, man.
What's the premise?
Jeff Bridges is like an old
man, like he is. He's like 75 years old.
He worked for the agency,
right?
You know? And
I just worked for the agency, man.
He's a badass. You know, he's got a history, and John Lithgow was kind of like his handler.
Yes.
You know, and they show him as young men. You know, there's actors who play him as young men, and him and Lithgow. They're perfect. The guy that's like a young Lithgow looks like him too.
He does.
And then Kurt, he's still involved in some sort of espionage as an old man, but he's still a badass,
right?
For as old as he is.
Underestimated at his age.
Yeah, but he's still somewhat like fragile because he's old. But he's still bad. It's great. It's like a really good series, man.
It really is, Aldo. I think you'll like it. I really think you'll like it.
I got to check it out.
It's right up your alley.
Sounds like it. I like anything with pussy in it.
And old men.
Mr. Mayhem says season 2 so far is good. So yeah, I haven't got a chance to see season 2 yet, but I really enjoyed season 1. Really
I'm
good.
I'm interested in knowing what Carl likes. Are you
He's
still
got
like on
two
Disney
dogs.
cartoons?
Jay?
Yeah, Carl's like
Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power season 2 on Amazon.
Yeah,
you're not
I'm enjoying that
Pokemon?
too.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's better than season 1, I think.
Aldi Gondor.
Hey, Mr. Mayhem, I am going to watch Civil War maybe tomorrow or sometime before our next show, so we can talk about it. So
what's Civil War? Is that the Justin Fields, Caleb Williams debacle?
No, it's a very controversial film about the United States in the near future.
Yeah.
There's a civil war. There's, fighting for American democracy.
With Kamala as president, right?
Kirsten Dunst is the star, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Kirsten Dunst, right.
And her husband is Jesse Plemons, who has a cameo.
Excellent actor. Excellent actor.
If you haven't seen his cameo, it's great. It's like really over the top. He didn't want anybody to know that he was going to be doing this scene.
Mm-hmm.
The director asked Kristen Dunst, "Hey, can you get Jesse to play a small part?" He's like, "Okay," but he doesn't want anybody else to know that he's going to come in and do the scene. So he's filming the natural reactions of the actors when his character comes into the scene. It's great, classic.
Mayhem says he loves it. It reminds him of a Stephen King story. Interesting.
It's called From. Yeah, From. It's really good.
Cool. Gonna check these out. Any other suggestions before we pull the plug?
I saw The Boy and the Heron finally.
Oh, what'd you think?
That was excellent, man. Really good.
Right.
It's so beautiful to look at.
Candid. This is for those who don't know. There is a Japanese anime artist, master artist. He is the Walt Disney of Japanese animation. Miyazaki. He's made some unbelievable movies that I truly, truly love. This one is not one of my favorites because it is so fucking personal. You almost have to read his autobiography to get some of the plot points and what he was trying to say. My daughter, who is in her late 20s, and I went to see it last year in the theater, and we were both like, yeah, I love it, but I don't know what the fuck was going on at the time. And then we both got home and started reading up on it. Oh, it meant this in his life and blah, 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 which is, in my opinion, too personal of a movie. Where if you're forcing people to go out to Google to find out what the fuck was the meaning of this, then you're kind of, losing out some of your audience. But it is nonetheless a spellbinding movie because of the animation is fantastic.
Yeah, beautiful, gorgeous to look at.
Yeah, indeed.
There's a movie on Netflix. It's a set in the I think around the Civil War time of the Japanese area with the Shogun and the Emperor and all of them.
Yeah, it won a lot of Emmys.
Yeah, it's called Rurouni Kenshin.
Yes.
I put it in
Rurouni Kenshin is an old anime that used to be on Adult Swim on like Cartoon Network.
But they
did a live action of it, I'm guessing.
Wow.
Yeah, they had
I watch nothing. I watch no movies. I'm very ignorant towards this space, and I've heard of Rurouni Kenshin.
Wow. Okay. So, how come you don't watch movies?
Just not my cup of tea.
Watching sports all the time.
15 years old. He's on his phone all day.
Daniel. Mr. Short Pants.
Yeah, I would recommend that. It's they dubbed it to where they're speaking English, but you can tell they're actually speaking in Japanese. But it's great though. It's plenty of martial arts in there, but the storyline is pretty good. It's about a retired samurai who doesn't want to kill no more, and I mean it's just good. I mean, so if you want something on Netflix, I would recommend that.
Now that's a multi-part series, like about 9-10 hours or episodes.
Well, actually, it's like 3 different movies.
Oh, okay.
It's like the beginning, the final. I mean, because they got it from Japanese or Japan, and they try to incorporate it, make it Americanized to where they didn't bring them all over. They only brought over like 3 of them.
So is it a redo, or are they just dubbed over the Japanese? I don't understand.
Well, they're talking, they sound English, like they're speaking in English, but they're actually speaking in Japanese.
Oh.
So, however, I mean, then when I actually did some research about it, there's a couple of more movies that they didn't bring over. So they kind of like combined them to where they have, I think it's in Japan, it must be like a 6-movie series or something like that.
Okay.
But they just combined it down to like 3 here. So it's actually pretty good. I enjoy it.
I thought it was an anime series, so I wonder if they just took the anime series and created movies.
There is an anime series that is still out there, but for this one in particular, there were 6 movies, live action movies that they condensed down to 3.
Sure. Okay.
By the way, the documentary on HBO that Ravi is referring to, McMillions, I actually worked at McDonald's when that happened. I was one of the staff directors in our creative department, and I was called like at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. Hey, the CEO of the company has a video message that he wants to send out to all the franchisees, because it was going to hit the news that a bunch of people were being arrested for the Monopoly game being rigged, and certain people were chosen as winners. And so I get there at like 7 o'clock in the morning with the camera crew, and we fucking waited till past lunchtime before he finally came down with an approved script by lawyers and blah, blah, blah. And we videotaped them for 3 minutes telling people we didn't know anything about this. It was just some motherfuckers from the security department who rigged up the system and stuff. But the documentary is very, very well done, and revealed a lot of things to me that I didn't even know, and I was there. So good stuff.
Did you guys ever watch Luther on Netflix?
Never. With Idris Elba, I want to see that. Yeah,
I've been telling you about that for years now, Aldo.
Yeah, you have. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's
What's up, Sam Rush?
Samo.
Like for the NFL, there's some, week 2. It's been a weird year though. The Ravens are 0-2. Their defense is absolutely terrible. I think the Jaguars are 0-2 now too. But teams that generally are looked at as teams who would normally win a division or win their division. I think Steelers probably weren't predicted to win the division. They're 2-0. Yeah, the Vikings are sitting on top 2-0 on the backs of a strong defense. If you think that the Titans and Texans defense, we're going to have trouble with the Vikings defense. Brian Flores always cooks up something exotic. Yeah. And like Shorty said, the teams are going to test Caleb with blitz all season long.
Blitz.
That's all they're going to do. I mean, I swear I saw the Texans blitz 8 and we had no hot read. I could have been seeing things, man. Sending 8,
Hey, Tooch brings up an interesting topic. Sorry for interrupting, but I would like to get your guys' opinions on a few NFL hot topics. I think a hot topic now is Lawrence, the quarterback from the Jags. I mean, this guy should be performing at a much higher level now.
100%.
Are you guys of the opinion that perhaps this guy is never going to meet the potential or the status that we were all sold on as the number 1 overall pick? Go ahead, guys, take it over.
Can I interject one thing? Because I mean, look, last season, if Trevor Lawrence had 5 more touchdown passes, he was plagued by drops. His receivers,
yes, that's true.
A lot of drops last season. If he had 5 more touchdown passes, he'd been one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He can run. He makes plays with his legs. Just hasn't been as accurate as you'd like with a guy drafted so high. Other than that, it's getting to the point where you have to start thinking of the guy as a little bit of a bust, and maybe the Jaguars moving on.
Yeah,
well, the Jaguars gave him the world and everything that came inside of it. I mean, he's a very wealthy kid, so The deed is done. They have to deal with it. I mean, they could cut him, swallow the cap, and die, but
put this in
like they should do with Nate Davis. You know,
it's just 1 year on the chin. I mean, as soon as Ryan Bates is back healthy, he needs to be.
Yeah, they did. Ravi's right. They did pay him.
Yep,
of course, yeah. He got a massive contract. He got like a $55-60 million a year contract.
That's right.
Put this into perspective as Bears fans. Everyone in chat, you guys here on the panel, if we paid him that much to be our quarterback, how much bitching and complaining would we be doing as Bears fans? Like it'll take a lot to satisfy
We'd
us.
still have no offensive line if we paid him.
Yeah.
Right. So
maybe the Jaguars just haven't built an
no.
offensive line, unlike the Bears. Look, a great offensive line is going to make the most average quarterback look good. You know?
Okay, that point has been brought up multiple times. So you guys can obviously see that the Lions are doing it right and have built up Jared Goff. They have the best offensive line in the NFL. Are the Lions really going to win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, though? Is that really something that you think is going to happen?
It's possible.
If Brad Johnson can win a Super Bowl, Jared Goff can win one, I think.
Defense is much different back in whatever that was, 2000. But
Well,
I don't know. I don't think that the Lions can win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, and I would love for them to go to the Super Bowl and lose, and the cap finally starts to catch up to them. I don't think. I agree. In on paper, in an ideal world, you would get yourselves the best offensive line and then bring in the talent.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of this discourse between us with, the offensive line is a problem. Well, how can we fix it? So I compiled a list while you guys were yapping. The All-Pro team from 2023 is all first-round picks and really high first-round picks. The Pro Bowl list, the remaining players who are also very good, not including the tackles, might surprise you. So the 2023 Pro Bowl guards were Quentin Nelson, Zach Martin, and Kevin Zeitler, who were 6th, 16th, and 27th overall. But you also have Joel Bitonio, who is the 35th pick, Landon Dickerson, who is the 37th, Joe Tooney, who is the 78th, and Wyatt Teller, who is all the way in the 5th round at 166th overall. The centers, same story. Ryan Kelly and Tyler Lindenbaum, 18th and 25th overall, but Eric McCoy was 48th, Creed Humphrey, the 63rd pick, and the best player who I've named yet was Jason Kelsey, who was in the 191st pick, 6th round. So the Bears can fix this offensive line quickly, as Dan Aguirre said earlier. The 06 line was put together pretty quickly. The Bears have a lot of draft picks moving forward. I think next year, out of those top 3 picks in the top 64, 2 of them will be linemen. I'm positive that one of them will be an offensive lineman and probably another defensive lineman. But they can fix this quick if they want to.
Bill Parcells is famous for saying you build through the trenches. You know, build the offensive and defensive lines. And what's his name? Ryan Poles should know better. This isn't ancient folk wisdom. You know.
But he's been dealt the hand that he's been dealt. Next year and the 5 years prior to this, Rome Odunze would have been the first wide receiver off the board. And the Bears never draft wide receivers. They went for the fences with Kevin White. They failed because of injury. But I think that was a very non-Bears move. This isn't the same old Bears. It is different. They brought in talent just because it fell to them. I mean, they could have tried to. Someone said earlier they're going to trade up to 5th, get Joe Alt. That'd be fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, they have the resources available to them to fix this. They're giving Nate Davis the benefit of the doubt because of the money that they're on the hook for. Once Ryan Bates comes off of IR, that's the end of Nate Davis. You heard it here first.
Well, I think part of the problem is we expect too much out of our quarterbacks. We expect our quarterbacks to be savior. We expect them to be Joe Burrow.
Yes.
We expect them to be all these great things. And the reality is very few number 1 overall quarterbacks have ever won Super Bowls.
All right, summarize this at work.
Not
a lot of quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl, though. Only however many Super Bowls.
Excuse me, I wasn't done yet.
The duplicates.
So I was trying to say, so when you have this high expectation on the quarterbacks and expecting them to be saviors, when you need to build a team, That's the whole thing. You need to have a team. You have a team, and then you can see where the team goes. That's why, to answer the question that Aldo said with Goff, I think Goff can win it because he has a stout offensive lineman in front of him. So, I mean, it's possible. It's just the fact that if we don't fix that line, I don't expect much out of any quarterback we have. Yep. We can bring in Patrick Mahomes, and he would fail. Yep. You need to build your line.
I don't know about that one. An offensive line will win you games and will put you into the playoffs, but the elite quarterbacks are what win you the Super Bowl in this modern NFL.
How many number one overall quarterbacks have ever won a Super Bowl? Ever.
Okay. What Super Bowl are we starting right now?
After this year,
what Super Bowl are we starting? Is it Super Bowl 60? I don't even know what it is at this point. 50 something?
Yeah, 50 something.
Okay, so 50, call it 56. Tom Brady won 6. So you've only got 50 other quarterbacks who have ever won a Super Bowl. It's a really small sample size.
Aikman won
multiple. So how many number one overall quarterbacks out of 50 something won Super Bowls?
Aikman was
question
number
might be
one
how many
overall,
number
wasn't
one overall quarterbacks have gone to the Hall of Fame?
None, but it's about to be
because
one.
if the issue is you're talking about winning Super Bowls here. So we keep harping on this quarterback being he's not the end all to be all. The bottom line is we have less than 10 quarterbacks who's drafted number one overall to win a Super Bowl. Period. But yet we always want to talk about how great this quarterback needs to be. How about we having a great team? Get a great team.
The Bears have a pretty good team, and they're going to be better next year.
Well, if we don't get the team, well, our offensive line sucks.
The coaching and the scheme is hard to learn, and it does suck. And the offensive line players, the personnel, are not executing. That is a fact.
I think it's jarring to Bears fans that an offensive lineman who's our GM has trouble finding and retaining offensive line talent or building an offensive line. I think that's the frustration that Bears fans are feeling.
But there's so much hindsight with that too. I saw someone flame the Jaquan Brisker pick because a player multiple slots after is an okay lineman. Do you guys remember how bad the Bears secondary was once Poles took over?
Hindsight
is 2020, and oh my God, with that draft, he fixed the secondary essentially because that's part of the backbone of what we're seeing right now. It's hard for me to criticize Poles just yet. I think that this anger can be warranted if the Bears lose 3 or 4 of the next game.
Yeah.
They have a really winnable stretch. Let's give them a chance.
I agree with you. It is too early to blame Poles for anything because it's 2 games in. The players who are currently on the team could improve with help from their coaches in terms of play calling, in terms of scheme, et cetera, et cetera. So, but I want to answer PJ's question about how many number one quarterbacks. There's actually been 8, PJ. And now out of those 8.
Troy Aikman's one of them, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Out of those 8, 2 of them were the backup quarterbacks, so they don't count. Like Drew Bledsoe, right? He won a Super Bowl, but he won it so it's Terry Bradshaw, Jim Plunkett, John Elway, Troy Aikman, again,
Eli Manning.
He was saying in his first year, though.
Peyton.
No, I
didn't hear that. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and then David Carr was the backup quarterback for the Giants when Eli.
So literally, basically 6, right?
Yes, basically 6.
Basically 6.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
I mean, 60 years.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So we expect these quarterbacks. We're thinking that these quarterbacks are going to come in and save their day. When in actuality, give them a team.
Yeah.
I mean, for real, give them. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was the 3rd quarterback taking that draft, and here he is, incredible.
Don't remind Aldo and I. We wanted Mahomes so badly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, but we have so much other things to worry about than our quarterback right now and him being super great. Man, give me a great left tackle because the left tackle we got, although he has the traits according to Gabriel, which I respect Gabriel a lot. Truly I do. But he has the traits, but yet you still see him getting pushed back at times.
Exactly.
So it's like, give me some lineman that's going to sit up there and be able to carry that weight. I mean, to what Shorty was saying earlier, when I thought Tevin Jenkins was playing really well, he was on the right side. Mm-hmm. Now, for whatever reason, we got him on the left side because we got Davis over there. But man, stop making the whole line worse. Put Tevin over there and knowing that, hey, if I need a yard, instead of me hopping in shotgun, I'm going to get under center and I'm going to run to the right side behind Tevin Jenkins and Darnell Wright.
Power right all day long.
I mean, it's
but
just
how many teams with elite offensive line groups have won Super Bowls? In recent memory, the Eagles won one, so fair play to them. The Lions haven't won jack shit. The Cowboys have not won jack shit. And I think the Browns have had multiple All-Pros on their line, and they have absolutely not won shit either.
When the Cowboys won their 3 Super Bowls in the 90s, it's because of their elite line. It wasn't
the line was elite along with their triplets.
Troy Aikman was the number 1 overall pick, but he wasn't playing like a great superstar overall number out guy. He was an average quarterback.
Emmitt Smith was. Michael Irvin was.
Michael Irvin did not put up great numbers.
He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
He's a Hall of Fame, but so was Troy Aikman. But it's not because of the numbers; it's because of their wins. Because again, you got the wins is what's getting them those Super Bowl. I mean, they're getting those Hall of Fames. But the thing is, the line is what got them the Super Bowls. Without that line, Emmitt Smith is not a Hall of Famer. Without that line, neither is Troy Aikman. So that line is what got them.
Tyron Smith could be the best of that whole group.
They have the line. All these teams have good lines. I mean, and even the ones who don't have good lines, they know how to manipulate the line enough to where, hey, Tom Brady, we need you to throw the ball real quick out. I mean, we'll hurry up and get rid of the ball. He didn't have a great old line, but guess what? They didn't give up very many sacks when he was there either.
But
why is that? Because he got rid of the ball.
If Caleb Williams' direct comp, I hate to say it, is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes took the Chiefs to a Super Bowl and lost it because of a terrible offensive line, but he still took them there. The Bears probably have a better offensive line now than the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl that they lost. I think that's not wrong.
Right now?
I don't think so.
I don't know about
today,
that.
Today,
Kyle
probably
Orton.
not. The talent, I think, is better.
We definitely need to improve along the offensive line next season. I mean,
and we will, and we definitely will.
I appreciate it when Ryan Post said, we can't fix everything in, this short amount of time. But I do think that it's important to prioritize the trenches, defensive and offensive line, as much as you can. Yeah, you don't want to draft somebody who you had on your board as the 50th ranked player when the number 1 player is available, or number 2 on your board, or number 10, or whatever it is. You don't want to go there, but you got to figure out a way to protect your new investment, your quarterback. There's no doubt about it. Now, having said that, it is early. We've got some favorable opponents coming up. We should see progress. If we don't see progress by the 3rd or 4th game, I'm going to be the first one on here fucking panicking and having panic attacks and dying on the air and shit.
We
still
had a chance to win the game at the end.
Yes,
I know, against a Super Bowl contender in their stadium.
Yeah.
What would all of us be talking about right now if Caleb would have just driven the ball down the field on that last drive
and punched in 7, 20-19 Bears?
I wouldn't be talking to you guys. I'd still be jerking off.
If he would have had one more timeout that wasn't given away by a shitty fucking red flag call to try to review the play that we all knew was not going to get overturned.
Regarding those challenges, the Diggs one was terrible, but the NFL screwed over the Bears by not allowing a potential scoring play to be automatically reviewed.
Them over on a couple of personal fouls
you cannot take the points off the board. You have to throw the challenge flag
point
on the
is,
board.
If they would have just they had it right there in that moment at the end of the game. If he scores, if Caleb Williams throws a touchdown pass on that final drive, all this fucking talk goes away. It goes out the door.
And it will all go away if they beat the Colts next week. That's just how the Chicago media works.
Well, I think that's the problem because, we only want to talk about the things negative when we lose. See, I'm going to be realistic about it. The reality of it is this offensive line does suck. I don't care if we would have won Sunday. It still sucks. I mean, but, if we want to placate and act like it doesn't suck because, we won. No, it still sucks because whether it rears its head this week, next week, or whenever, sooner or later it's going to rear its head because it sucks. I mean, Poles has been here for 3 years. He called himself addressing the offensive line with Lucas Patrick. I mean, the center position, Lucas Patrick, and now this Shelton guy. Both of them, while they were here, has not done much for them. All the time they were here, they sucked. Even Sam Mustipher, when he was here, sucked. We have not had a good center since Olin Kreutz. But yet we want to sit up there and say, "Oh,
Chicago, where centers go to die."
Well, we want to sit up there and we got to keep on talking about, well, he hasn't had time to do it. We can't fix it all in one draft. You can't fix it in one draft, but he had 3 drafts to fix it. He even had free agency to fix it, and he still hasn't fixed it. I mean, Creed Humphrey was drafted in the 3rd round. Bears didn't bother to draft him then.
Preach it.
I mean, again, we keep on making these excuses, and I mean, come on, fix the line. That's all I'm saying. Fix the line and stop making excuses. Oh, by the way, I like Karan Omagaji because his father played golf with Eberflus last summer, so I want to make sure we draft him. But we draft him, but he's hurt, and he's been hurt since October of last year. So instead of drafting Kingsley or somebody else, we want to draft this guy who's hurt because his father played golf with the head coach. Come on, man. How about just drafting a good enough line to where we can actually play somebody? No, let's draft Jenkins instead. Oh, he has back surgery, got a bad back coming in. He missed half the year his last year. But here, let's draft him anyway because you know what? We're addressing the line there, guys. We're trying to fix it. No, we're not trying to fix it. Because then as soon as Poles get here, what does he do? He lets James Daniel walk out the door.
Yeah.
Lets him walk out the door, don't even offer him a contract. And yet you bring in Nate Davis a year later who can't even attend training camp for whatever reason. I mean, I feel sorry for his mom. Don't get me wrong. I understand the whole situation. Well, what's his excuse this year? Heck, Tooch just said he ain't even practicing this week. Come on, bro. Can you practice?
He doesn't like practice, PJ.
You wonder why her vagina gets sore, raw, red, irritated?
I mean, one excuse after another excuse. We always come making these excuses for the Poles not taking care of the line. Fix the old line, and then I guarantee whatever quarterback we got back there, Tyson Bagent, or even the doggone rookie out of Western Kentucky right now, he'll do well. Give me a line in front of the guy where we can actually block somebody.
I wish PJ wasn't so low key, you know.
Yeah, I wish he'd be more extrovert.
Yeah.
You know, really say what is on his chest.
We've been talking about this on PCP.
Speak up next time. I couldn't hear you.
I just wish PJ was just
He's on the loose tonight, man.
Ironic after the porn videos that Aldo played as well.
I love the passion. I love the passion.
Extra blood flow tonight.
That was beautiful, man. Like, preach it, man. Because you're right. You're right. You can't come in here. It's kind of like Pace coming in here and saying, we're going to draft a quarterback every year, and we don't do it, you know? Yep. And Poles comes in here, and he's an offensive lineman. You would think he'd get that shit right by now. And we had, the guy from the Dolphins that was sitting out there. We had
Dan Feeney.
Yeah, Dan Feeney. That's another good one.
I'd rather have Dan Feeney than.
Oh, you're talking about Connor Williams.
Yeah, Connor Williams. We're all preaching for Connor Williams, and they had the money to sign him, but he would clearly
take Shirley Feeney over Coleman Shelton. Aldo.
Clearly,
I don't know about that one.
Over these two guys.
These guys don't know who Shirley Feeney is.
I don't. I don't know.
Laverne and Shirley was a TV show when Aldo and I were growing
up.
Oh, Laverne.
I wasn't alive. I apologize for my actions.
I love
Laverne DeFazio and Shirley Feeney.
Hey, the Fonz was on that show. Remember that shit?
They started on Happy Days. Laverne and
Lenny and Squiggy, right?
They had a spin-off with Lenny and Squiggy. Yeah.
Lenny and Squiggy.
Yep.
Unfortunately, neither Laverne or Shirley were worth a good fuck. So
I like the brunette.
Yeah, me too. Brunette.
You like Shirley? Cindy Williams, who passed away a few years ago.
Yeah, I would have done her.
Yeah, I did.
Not the other one.
I'd have done Laverne, Shirley, and Squiggy, and the other guy. I'd do anybody.
Dude, it was so funny. We're at the game, right? Like Aldo wasn't feeling well, so we took the train, and Foster was going to pick Aldo up and come to the train with us and take it down to Chicago. But Foster met us, but Aldo had to drive there because he wasn't feeling well in the morning. And so we meet up with Aldo. Aldo decides, let me drive you back to the train station. It's right by my house. We'll just drop you off, and you can just get on from there and go back to your destination. And the whole way there, he's like, so let's play a little game. Would you fuck her? Would you fuck her? And
Ay, Dios mío.
I'm sitting there like a nearly 50-year-old man feeling ashamed about like, well, she's a little bit young for me. And I go, fuck you. She's not. She's 25. She's fine.
I love it.
And I was like, well, yeah, you're right. I'm like, he's like, what about Aldo's driving? He's like, what about the chick in the spandex pants over there? I'd fuck her. I'm like, what do you think about? Hold on, let's play this game. Do you want to fuck her? No.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Man.
All right.
This show's getting better and better.
Man,
Aldo, I love you, Aldo, man. You're the podfather, man. You are the man.
We don't give a fuck.
Oh,
by the way, let me point it out that Aldo took us out to Al's Beef, and I'd never we had never had Al's Beef before. I wanted to try it. He took us out there. He bought us dinner.
It didn't disappoint, right?
What is the best Italian beef in Chicago?
It was not better than Johnny's.
Right. I say Johnny's.
Johnny's is damn good. Yeah, I mean, Al's is good. Yeah, Mr. Beef, all right, too.
Al's is good.
Beef and Al's Beef.
Mr. Beef is really good.
Johnny's is in Elmwood Park.
Shorty is saying that Portillo's quality of their Italian beef has dissipated.
Died.
What's his name? Sold the place.
Yeah.
Dick Portillo sold it. It's dead. You know, so here
the Japanese bought it.
So my first job was at a hot dog beef, stand. So the first beef I ever had was I was 14 and I worked at the place and I didn't even know what an Italian beef was. So I was back in Round Lake at Sammy's, who's about to be our new sponsor on BCP. He's like my first job. And I told him the last time I was there was the worst beef I've ever had, even though it was like the beef I grew up on. He's like, well, that's a shame.
The show.
Yeah, so he said, come back, I'll give you a free one. So I went back there this weekend. I went to the store. It was like one of the best beefs I've ever had. It was exactly how I remember it. It's very similar to how Portillo's used to be. So him and I got to talking about Portillo's, and I said, he's like, our beefs are very much similar to Portillo's. I said, Portillo's is dead to me. He said, they must be using, so you have to get your beef from the Midwest, Iowa, the Iowa beef, the Wisconsin beef, the Midwest beef. He said they're probably, now that Portillo's it was bought by a chain, and they're probably skimping on costs and shit. He said they're probably buying their beef from Texas or somewhere in the South where they don't have the cold weather. They don't have it's a different kind of meal for the beef. It's just, to me, I told him Portillo's beef to me now tastes like gamey cow. And he was like, here's why. And he said, it's probably because they're buying it from the South, not from the Midwest where the beef is the best.
Not from Iowa.
Exactly. I said, you're damn right. You probably are 100. You are 100% correct about that.
Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Kyle Orton.
He was talking to his girlfriend or his wife. I don't even know. It was always a girlfriend, but I'm sure it was probably his wife by now. He's like, yeah, I'm talking to the beef snob. So and he kept going on about it. I am literally a fucking Italian beef snob. Johnny's is the best that I've had. Sammy's in Round Lake, Illinois is one of the best I've ever had. If you want to go there, I'll give you a promo code soon for 10% off. Nice. Damn good. And Al's doesn't live up to Johnny's, and Portillo's is garbage. So
yeah, if you're really going to do a very good evaluation, you have to eat at these places multiple times, because you can go like the Al's, like we did this past weekend or last weekend, and you could get a bad batch. The people on shift that they don't do it as well as the franchise usually does. But I'll tell you one thing. Every time I go to Johnny's, it is fucking spectacular. I have never been let down. Never been let down. And I grew up, I worked at my stepfather's restaurant, and he prided himself on good Italian beef, and he did make a great fucking Italian beef. Johnny's is slightly better. My stepfather's place second. I would then put at third. I've never had D's. Where's D's at?
Never even heard of it.
God damn it, PJ. I like Mrs. comment in chat. He said 10% off Shorty's meat. So we're selling Shorty now.
I love it.
I never heard of these. I've always heard of Al's and Johnny's.
Yeah.
And Portillo's, obviously. But
and Mr. Beef.
And Mr. Beef. I love Mr. Beef.
Yeah,
it's right by you too, Aldo. I love Mr. Beef.
Yes.
Yep. That's what she said.
Oh, by the way, Bearski treated me to one, like a local place by him too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was called, but damn, it was just as good.
So Paul gave Shorty his beef.
What was it called, Bearski?
You said Mr. D's, right?
Is it Mr. D's?
Yeah, Mr. D's. That's what he's saying here.
Oh, that was Mr. Oh, so okay. That was really good, Aldo. Mr. D's was fantastic.
And whereabouts was this?
It's in it's right by Johnny's in Elmwood Park on 64.
Okay. Are they open now?
I was gonna say I'll be right there.
I don't think so.
Let's all meet up there. I'm buying.
I thought you guys was buying tickets to the Colts game this week.
Shit, I wish.
No, there's an official BCP meetup at the Seattle game.
Now you're trying to get a free ticket, PJ?
Hey. If it's at the 50, if it's between the 30 and the 30, I'm going.
It wasn't. It was the end zone. Aldo was in the end zone. You want those tickets?
Yeah.
You know what? I should go down there with my wife is out of town. I deserve the reward of going to.
Is that why Foster left? Is he on his way over, Aldo?
Yeah, if he is,
Foster's
he's got a big Puerto Rican dick with him.
Foster's on his way to.
Is that on your Patreon members only content?
Absolutely. This is much better than Italian beef.
I don't know. Foster texted me. He says he's got to pee real bad. He's got to use Aldo's porch.
That's who's ringing the
Pee on my bush. Pee on my bush.
All right, fellas, and it's time to pull the plug on this one.
Thank God.
I just want to say that tomorrow, the Buffon 55 show, 8 p.m. Central, is going to be fantastic. So I hope you watch it.
I thought we were supposed to be tomorrow, to be honest.
Me too. I was like, you're a day early.
We had some scheduling conflicts because of John Buffon. So we'll be back on Wednesday night starting next week.
Buffon.
Yeah, we got to take care of him.
Yep.
No, I really want to arm
Buffon's beef.
And I know what we're going to be doing on Thursday. We're going to be watching Bears Country Productions. What do you guys got planned for Thursday night, guys?
No
plans.
Great question. Great question.
Listen to me.
Foster will be having a wig applied.
I love that.
For you.
Foster's got girls for all of us.
He will be shaving his mustache.
He's got some toothless cheesehead women he's going to talk about. We're going to have fun. It's by the seat of our pants at this point, Aldo. You know.
And you know what?
Just don't take off your pants.
Guys do that really, really well.
Thank you.
I've watched a handful of times over the last couple of months. Excellent show, excellent production values. You guys really bring.
Wait, you guys do a show?
Yeah, they do.
And the stream.
Just kidding.
You want to join us sometime again, Tooch?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have
Come
you
back sometime. Yeah.
And don't
That
forget.
was fun last time I was on.
Of course,
Can't
that's
back
what
out
we do.
now.
We
We're
have
live.
fun.
That was
Can't back out.
before Kyle. That's when the nudity warning comes in.
That's the whole point, though, Tooch. We have fun. Like the fact that you said you had fun, that's all that matters. Like when you ask what we're doing, it's like having fun. We'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
9
p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central.
There you go. That's where I'll be. I hope you guys will be there too. I want to thank all of you. Hey, let me go around the table here. Any shout outs, anything you want to say before we pull the plug? I'll start with the young bird, Carl.
No, I'm just sad that you guys can't see my name because of the banner at the bottom. But just have a lovely time. Yes. Always look forward to Thursdays.
Okay.
And you're not a commie.
And he's not a commie.
You're not
a commie.
BJ, what do you got?
He's got daddy's cummies on the mind. Oh my goodness.
We do have a good time on Thursday nights. We talk football. We talk about just about anything. But the main purpose is just to have a good time. And you might hear me rant, you might not, but I am passionate about certain things. And Justin Fields and our offensive line is two of the main ones I'm normally passionate about. But I am passionate about other things.
And Cliff Victoria's cooking.
I love his cooking.
Everyone on this show is a dog and a loser. Not John. He's the best, except for me. Except for me.
That's real.
Close out.
Who? What was that? Is that me?
Shorty, and then you.
Shorty.
No, I just listen, Aldo. I just want to say thank you for having us on tonight. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you for coming to the game with us. I mean, and being so generous. Aldo bought us these shirts. You bought us dinner. I mean, you repaid the ticket by a mile. So love and appreciate you. You are the Podfather. You are the reason why we are doing this. Every one of us here are the reason why we are doing this is because of you. I'll say that until I die. It's all to your credit. Love you so much and appreciate you. Tooch, love you and appreciate you. We'd love to have you on the show again, ASAP as well. Bears Country Podcast, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. We'll see you in a couple of nights.
9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. I'm so grateful to hang out with you guys. Aldo, hearing your voice, it's like nostalgic. It's like it brings me back, So
Big deal.
Hanging out with you for the game was an absolute honor for all of us. And I want to thank you for joining us one more time. It was so much fun. Love you and appreciate you. And thank you all you guys in chat. For anyone that is not familiar with us, BCP, 9 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central every Thursday night. And we'll see you guys in a couple of nights. And I will go on my own rant as well about, a little more in depth about this game, because I'm sure I'm going to hear a lot more shit on the radio. It's going to piss me off. And I'll bring all that up in a couple of days. So thank you again.
I can't wait to miss it. So, what'd you think of the game?
Defense and special teams came through.
Oh, no shit, Sherlock.
I called that interception.
Sure.
Tyreek Stevenson interception.
Right, buddy.
I called it. I turned to everybody around me and said, we're going to intercept the ball in this drive.
Yeah, right, mister. Mm-hmm.
It did. Nobody could believe it, including myself.
Enough with the fucking lies.
I hope the offense starts to come around. It's just Caleb's first game.
No.
I'm excited. A win is all that matters.
You sure about that?
I take everything I just said back. You fucking asshole.
Awesome.
I love you.
Classic.
That's one of those videos that while you're working on it, you're laughing. You're like, this is going to be good. This is going to be good.
Oh, yeah. Classic bar room.
All right, Tooch, what you got for us?
Shout out Aldo for checking with me first before allowing these guys on. Right?
I warned you we had something special.
Shout out to all the guys, all the barroom personalities who've been working extra hard during football season to bring out quality content. Shout out to the Barflies. Without them, there wouldn't be any show. And I got a shout out Center Grove Orchard in Cambridge, Iowa, for allowing me to pick their apples on Sunday with the girls. Good stuff, man.
Cool.
I love it, man. The girls are doing well at school, Tooch?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Good. They love to move to Iowa,
Today was tie-dye day. They got to wear tie-dyes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, they brought the teacher an apple, too.
Hey, Aldo, I would be remiss if I didn't want to say thank you again for inviting me on. Thank you for what you do for our channel. Although I've never met you personally, I feel like I know you like a brother, for real.
There you go,
So
brother.
I truly appreciate everything you've
What about
done
me,
for the
PJ?
channel.
I'm your
Tooch,
brother.
I haven't got to you yet. You coming next?
Fuck you, Tooch.
You know you coming, Tooch. But no, Aldo, I do want to say thank you, man. I truly appreciate you, man. And Tooch, I enjoy your content.
He
I
left.
enjoy
He left.
your-
His connection got fucked up.
Well, I still want to say,
Sure.
Tooch, I want to say thank you for your Bears State of Affairs and all that, man. Thank you, guys. Thank both of you as well as Dan Aguirre. Thank you guys for inviting us on, letting us partake in your show, man. I had a good time tonight. I truly appreciate it.
Also, Tooch, thank you for turning me on to Casey's Pizza.
Yeah. Yep. Had a barbecue pulled pork with pickles pizza. It wasn't bad.
Fucking fantastic gas station pizza, man. Anyone that doesn't know,
Tooch, that sounds awesome.
General store pizza is the best.
Oh, it's a gas station?
Gas station.
They have
Wait,
awesome
Casey's?
pizza, though. Yeah.
Casey's?
Casey's
My girlfriend
General
has
Store.
been preaching that as well.
Yeah.
Yep. This is old news.
Although
I
you should
forgot
be
about
getting
this.
one. They got one in Naperville now. You should be getting them up in Arlington Heights soon, I'm sure. We're
They
taking
got one in
over
Morris, Illinois. I just grabbed some Friday night when I was at the football game.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this press conference thing, but I want to check it out, guys. If you got some, Matthew Mocheesy.
Oh, cheesy, yeah. That's my
Mocheesy,
guy.
he does a great job of feeding me stuff, ideas for the
Yeah.
show. Zach, anyone else got stuff? If you're on Twitter, send it to my DMs. They're open, or on Facebook. That would be great. And I will share it with Bears Country Productions too, because I know they don't do any preparation for their show. So I'll send them some stuff that I'll have to produce their show.
That's a secret. We told you that in confidence.
Damn it.
Oh, sorry.
You son of a bitch.
No, but really, from the bottom of my heart, guys, I really, really appreciate this. Like I've told Foster, I'm a fucking hermit. And so my socializing and stuff is through the Bears Barroom, the Barroom Network, the Bears Country Productions, and the other podcasts that I see. I really, really value the friendships that we've developed here
Me
over
too.
the years.
Me too.
It's really important to me, and I really appreciate you guys very much. With that, I will let people know that, remember, on Thursday, Bears Country Productions, subscribe to their channel right away, and also do the same thing here.
Okay, guys and girls, if you like what you see, give us a like, press the bell, and subscribe. Thank you, sweetie pies.
What? No weather report? What?
Yeah,
No weather
yeah.
report?
She, of course, is too skinny for PJ and myself. but I know somebody out there likes those thin Asian girls.
What? No what?
And don't
Be
forget,
that prostitute in the bedroom.
that's right. That goes for you guys too. Until next time, take care, everybody.